now we done came from the bottom. Mad that we up, but I don't hear him talking. Started with knowledge inside of my noggin. We took a dream and then we started blogging. Put my city on the map now. I'ma say how it is and now I'm back down. On the road to 100K, we finna act out. We gon' show them that we not just in the background. We the main event, we the main show. We the one that people always gon' pay for. FYF, we the best, no debate though. Number one sports channel, every angle. I'ma show them all how we ride. Best sports talk show, we not like them guys. We playing it safe while they fed the lines. We switching the narrative all the time. Like who to go in the game is not MJ. Kobe Bryant top 10, not what we say. I keep Elijah one is very overrated. Keep it real if it ain't fact, we don't say it. Now it's stable, we won't be ignored. We number one, especially when coming to sports. FYF bringing the heat here, of course. Where everything backed up with actual source. Everything backed up with actual source.
Nah, that's just passion. We love the game. You already know what it is. FYF. You don't got tough skin. You might as well not even come on in. Talk to 'em. FYF, blow the whistle, man, we too official. Better check the film, we not one of them. The greatest to ever ball above the rim. They wasn't with me shooting in the gym. Cut the small conversation, debate on major levels. This the playoffs, baby, bring that pressure, we never settle. Cross and spin, getting it in, I wanna win. That teamwork got us headed to the ship again. Oh, LeBron better than MJ? Cut it out. Half these fans in the stands don't know what they talking about. Half-court jumpers, crowd going wild. FYF ranked number one, you better say it loud. Intellectual talk, but fuck your feelings. Elijah one too overrated, Kobe still a realist. Top 10 all time, now how they cut the line. Magic Johnson, Draymond Green, one in the same kind. Fuck your feelings, fast break, stop and pull a J. He got how many rings, nothing else to say. With the team, live streaming, play by play. This the dream, full steam on the road to 100K. FYF, blow the whistle, man, we too official. Better check the film, we not one of them. The greatest to ever ball above the rim. They wasn't with me shooting in the gym. Cut the small conversation, debate on major levels. This the playoffs, baby, bring that pressure, we never settle. Cross and spin, getting it in, I wanna win. That teamwork got us headed to the ship again. Started small, then turned into big dogs. They treat me like the GM, I just make the call. No matter who my op is, I'ma stand tall. Then pull up to the game, fresh like I just left the mall. 100K, 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 check the score. We gon' bust the shot clock, fans running to the floor. All I hear is go this and go that. Man, your team suck, hang it up like a coat rack. I love the game, I admit it, I can't quit it. Step in front of me, man, your ankles gon' get the business. Been a legend like Moses Malone, way ahead of my time. This the greatest sports show ever, I just had to remind. FYF, FYF, blow the whistle, man, we too official. Better check the film, we not one of them. The greatest to ever ball above the rim. They wasn't with me shooting in the gym. Cut the small conversation, debate on major levels. This the playoffs, baby, bring that pressure, we never settle. Cross and spin, getting it in, I wanna win. That teamwork got us headed to the ship again.
FYF Sports, man. Lamont, man. We're back. Salute to everybody being here today, man. We had a crazy face-off yesterday, man. Impromptu debate, man. Great conversation, man. Make sure y'all tune in Saturday, man. Tune in Saturday. We got a humongous debate card going on. Right, the rankings as we know it, right? A lot of people haven't seen the FYF Sports Debate rankings. The rankings as we know it. Obviously, this ranking list has changed, right? This is the old ranking list. Obviously, Elder Rufus removed himself. He gracefully bowed out. Obviously, this is the heat got too hot here at FYF Sports, and certain people just want to be in safer places, safer zones, right, where their takes don't really get judged as harshly. So Elder Rufus has been booted out of the power rankings, obviously because of his inability and refusal to debate the toughest topics and to have his takes critiqued. Young Africa had moved up to the number 2 spot. SB Talk Sports, man. He's in there. You have Mahari who sits in there. We got to get him back into the debate circuit. Obviously, True the King took some major losses, man. He dropped on that list. MacDef at 9, Tiffany Ned at 10, Ralph with an impressive victory that bumped him over True the King. Same with Renegade. So this is our list right now. This is our list right now, right? And we got some new people headed into the debate circuit. We got the Pope. We got a few other guys that are looking to get ranked as well. Hopefully, we can get some new faces, some new names in this ranking. But obviously, at the top, we got A-Sturdy. So again, Saturday, the headline and debate of the evening is going to be Young Africa at number 2 versus A-Sturdy. And then we got a plethora of other matchups that I think are going to be very entertaining. We're probably going to start the night off with some of those, football debates, things like that. And then we'll progress into the primary debates, the basketball debates, man. So I think it's Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you guys are there. Make sure you guys tune in. You don't want to miss it. And remember, that debate is sponsored by Rental Karma, man. Rental Karma, man, sponsor of the debates going Saturday. Make sure y'all check this company out, man. It's a lot of you guys in the chat, man, dealing with bad credit. I know some of you guys have refused to click the link. Y'all haven't clicked the link. Y'all being hard-headed, and y'all sitting there with a 400 credit score right now. If you're living with your mama, if you're living in somebody's basement and you're paying them $50 rent a week, you can get all of that reported on your credit report to boost your credit score, man. We're going to let the people from Rental Karma tell you how to get it done.
Did you know that you can add your rental payment history to your credit report and help you improve your credit score or establish credit if you don't happen to have it? At Rental Karma, we've helped over 62,000 families across America in the last 5 years do just that. Whether you pay to a family member or a friend or apartment or a landlord, we can help you. So if you're a renter in America and you want to get the credit you deserve for your rental payment history, visit rentalkarma.com and see if Rental Karma can help your family.
Make sure y'all check out Rental Karma, man. Very easy to sign up. $60 sign up fee. If you sign up using the promo code in the chat, FYF Sports, that's $25 off to get started. And it's only $8.95 a month for them to continuously report. Excellent way to boost your credit score. Almost an immediate 40 to 50 point boost. All right. Y'all guys, take your credit more seriously. Get in bed with Rental Karma, man. Get signed up today. Use that code FYF Sports. Look, today, we got a good topic today. Because yesterday we went into the topic of scorers and who are the best scorers in basketball. And I think yesterday's conversation exposed a couple different things. Yesterday's conversation exposed that this basketball circuit, and salute to Bang in the chat, I see you in there. This basketball circuit has been muddied with casuals that use stats and in-value production to drive their narratives. It's also been muddied by people who get into these basketball takes with biases and agendas to push and promote certain players. And that's where it becomes kind of unethical basketball talk. Because when people enter into these basketball conversations with an agenda, what they also end up doing is they also end up creating in their minds fictitious criteria that only favors the players that they're having and building biases towards or around. And we've seen this already, y'all. We've seen this with Jordan. We've seen how people craft narratives and criteria around Jordan that make Jordan essentially untouchable at the top, and it's unfair to everybody else. But this is the criteria that people craft in their heads. They craft it in their heads intentionally with bad faith. They craft it. They make these things up. And so yesterday when we heard, I forgot the guy's name, but yesterday when we heard people talking about what is the makeup of a great scorer, what we heard was somebody create a completely fictional idea of what a scorer is and then try to disseminate that to the masses as if it was facts. When there are certain things in basketball that have a set definition. Being a scorer in the game of basketball has never changed. Being a scorer in a game of basketball has always been what it is. So much so that there is a true definition for it. Right? So before we even get into this, and before I run down my list, and before I start inviting people up onto the panel, how do we know what the definition of a scorer is? Right? How do we know? Right? Is there a real definition? All right. And remember, we're not talking about just regular scores. We're not talking about 7th and 8th men on the bench that can score. When we talk about the best scorers in the game of basketball, we are talking about the elite level scorers. We're not talking about what it takes to be a good scorer or an okay scorer, or we're talking about elite level scorers. And when we talk about elite level scorers, there's only a certain class of players that we can even be put in these conversations. And so how do you come up with a definition? How do we come up with an unbiased definition? Because even if I told you guys what a score was, one could argue that my explanation of a elite score is biased to a certain degree because it's coming out of my brain. You guys don't know. So what I'm going to do is we're going to ask the most unbiased person. So we can just go ask ChatGPT. ChatGPT have no dog in this fight, right? They're just going to tell us what it is and what has been generally considered based on the millions and millions and millions of pieces of analytical and documented information about the game of basketball that you can find across the internet and throughout history. So I'm going to put it on the screen. So we're going to type in, what are the best attributes of an elite scorer in basketball? Okay. It's giving me my response. Let me put it on the screen. And see, this way, now we can have a foundational starting point. So when I go to my list, if somebody on my list doesn't fall into this particular criteria, but I know what a elite level score consists of. We're going to see what ChatGPT says, and we're going to see if the people in my list fall into line with what the general consensus definition of an elite level score in the NBA is. Let's pull it up right here. Let me share my screen. Because there's a lot of people that like to lie. There's a lot of people that like to lie about the game. They like to cap. They like to make up their own fake definitions, because when we see people making up their own fictitious definitions for what certain things are in the game of basketball, it's usually, and it always can come back to either them trying to slander one particular player or them trying to boost up one particular player. And when you start to move that argument around and you really start to use it with the players that they like, it really doesn't hold weight. And I think we saw that yesterday when we started talking about Jordan and LeBron, Kobe and Shaq. Right? When we talked about Kobe and Shaq, yes, Shaq was the best player on that team. Kobe was the best scorer on that team. Well, is that a big surprise? No. Oh, It's not about in value production. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say about this. We're going to read it off right here, and I'm going to zoom in on it to help you guys out. If you guys can't see it, let's just zoom in on it. We asked ChatGPT, y'all. We asked ChatGPT, what are the best attributes of an elite scorer in basketball? Right here. An elite scorer in basketball possesses several key attributes. This is from ChatGPT that contribute to their ability to consistently put points on the board. Here are some of the best attributes of an elite scorer, according to ChatGPT. Shooting skills. An elite scorer has an exceptional shooting ability. They are proficient in shooting from various distances and angles, including mid-range, three-pointer, and free throw. I think that ties into the word versatility, like I was mentioning yesterday, but we'll move on. They have smooth shooting forms, quick releases, and a high shooting percentage. Shot creation. Elite scorers have the ability to create their own shots. They can effectively use dribble moves, crossovers, step backs, fadeaways, and other techniques to create separation from defenders to get their shot off. I talked yesterday about having a deep bag. Shot creation and everything that's listed right here aligns with having a deep bag. Number 3 on the list, offensive versatility. A top scorer is not limited to one particular style of scoring. Yesterday, we heard 2 people stand on business and the other guy, Jay, say that they don't care how guys score. They just want a guy who can continually just give you production, and it doesn't matter how they get it done. So they don't care if a guy has offensive versatility. What does it say offensive versatility is? A top scorer is not limited to one particular style of scoring. They can score in different ways, including off the dribble, catch and shoot, posting up, driving to the basket, finishing at the rim. This versatility makes it difficult for defenders to predict and stop their scoring attempts. Versatility again. So we've been through 3 aspects of what an elite level scorer is. All of them pertain to versatility. Basketball IQ. And when we get to and Mugan, the Diamond Lion, is Jokic not versatile? So Mugan, and before I'll get back to my list here in a second. This is how I look at Jokic. Is Jokic a better scorer than a player like Embiid? No. But Jokic is a better offensive player than Embiid. Meaning, if you don't just talk about scoring and you talk about everything else that Jokic can do well offensively, all of that combined makes him a better offensive player than Joel Embiid. But Joel Embiid will always be a better scorer of the basketball than Nikola Jokic. And I think this is also going to tie into my Carmelo Anthony argument, but we'll get back to this list. Number 4 on the list from ChatGPT. Basketball IQ. Elite scorers possess a high basketball IQ, allowing them to read defenses, exploit weaknesses, and make intelligent scoring decisions. They understand spacing, timing, and how to manipulate defenders to create scoring opportunities for themselves and for their teammates. Listen to what that said. Listen to what they said right there. Because when we talked about what people were saying yesterday, people yesterday were saying, oh, it's about the in-value numbers. ChatGPT is saying, no, your ability to be an elite scorer is just based on you being able to create scoring opportunities for yourself or for your teammates. It's not always about the in-value results. Shots, you can make shots, you can miss shots. You can create a great shot for yourself and be wide open and miss it. Right? Because you missed that shot, it doesn't take away from the fact that you're a great scorer. Your ability to create, to get that shot off consistently over time, that's generally going to win out. So nothing here is talking about the in-value results. It's talking about what you need to do to put yourself in a situation, even to be in the conversation. All right, number 5, we got Number 5 on the list from ChatGPT, we got great footwork, right? When we think about great footwork, it's hard not to think of a player like Akeem Olajuwon at the center spot, right? What made him stand out from every other center in the NBA in the 90s? It was his versatility. He possessed all of these things, his ability to create shots, not just in the post, also in the mid-range, from the perimeter, things like that. His IQ, his shot creation. He did a lot more than just your standard back to the basket big. He also had great footwork. You can apply great footwork also to players like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. They were elite with footwork. You might not say, right, you know, some people might say Kobe wasn't the quickest laterally and things like that. But these two guys, along with Hakeem and guys like that, they had elite level footwork. It says great footwork is crucial for scoring efficiently. Elite scorers have excellent footwork, enabling them to create space, change their direction, maintain balance while shooting or driving to the basket. Proper footwork helps you evade defenders to get your shot off more effectively. Confidence, mental toughness. Confidence and mental toughness is one of the best aspects of scores, because what we see a lot of times, and I forgot, I think J.R. Smith talked about this on his podcast. What we see a lot of times, and I think he was talking about D'Angelo Russell. D'Angelo Russell started struggling to shoot the ball. So you know what D'Angelo Russell decided to do? He didn't have the confidence or mental toughness to continue to shoot through the slump. He just stopped shooting. He stopped taking shots. One of the elements of an elite level score is confidence to take the shots and the mental toughness to thrive and survive through the misses. Kobe Bryant missed a ton of shots. It takes a lot of mental toughness to miss that many shots and come back and take the same tough shots over and over and over again, even though you have fan chatter and people and coaches saying, oh, those are bad shots, you shouldn't take those shots. We heard Magic Johnson early in Michael Jordan's career. Jordan will never win a championship playing that way, taking too many bad shots. Mental toughness is crucial to an elite level scorer, to be able to come back and still take those shots, irregardless of the noise and nonsense around you. This is one of the things that whether you want to give it to Jordan, same with LeBron, Kobe, all these guys, confidence, mental toughness. This is what the mental makeup is. Physical attributes. We talked yesterday about physical attributes. I called it physical gifts. Let's see what it says. It says, while not mandatory, as I also mentioned yesterday, certain physical attributes can enhance a scorer's effectiveness. These include speed, agility, quickness, strength, and leaping ability. Physical attributes can help a player's create separation, finish at the rim, and overcome defensive challenges. When we talked about Shaquille O'Neal, I talked about Shaquille O'Neal's size and stature just being a God-given gift. And sometimes players, there have been players that came into the NBA with God-given gifts, but failed to put in the work necessary by adding an element of versatility to their game to take their game to a next level. A la Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown came into the NBA with every God-given physical attribute needed to become an NBA Hall of Famer. Because he failed to add levels to his game and evolve into the star that many people had predicted, he stayed stagnant and never got better and never had any true success in the league. Similar with Zion Williamson, God-given physical attributes. God-given physical attributes. When we watch him play, we just simply watch him power over people. And even when LeBron James first came into the league, athleticism, power. Jordan, sheer athleticism, God-given athleticism. But all of these players, all of the greats, had to add a level of versatility to their game that pushed them to the next level. That's what happened. So while you do have some players that come into the NBA, chiseled, God-given physical gifts, super athletic, there are a ton of guys that don't do anything to add to that, to add a level of versatility to take their games to the next level. And those are the players that we call bust. Those are the guys that end up being bust. Hasheem Thabeet, God-given height. You cannot teach that type of height. Came into the league, did not add the level of versatility to his game necessary to turn into an all-star. Bust. Physical attributes can help you become a great scorer. But if you don't put in the work to do to add and become and take your game to be to that next level, the production will never come. Production just doesn't come. Production only comes with hard work. And the last thing kind of ties into what I just said. The last thing, work ethic. Work ethic. Work ethic. Work ethic. Elite scorers dedicate countless hours to refining their skills. They have relentless work ethic. When we think about this, we think of the Jordans, the LeBrons, the Kobes, the guys who continuously come back every year, every single year, adding a new layer to their games. When we talked with Gilbert Arenas, what did Gilbert Arenas say he did every summer? Gilbert Arenas talked about when people ask, how did Gilbert Arenas become such an elite level scorer? How did he become such a great scorer in the game? Gilbert Arenas said every summer he went into the gym, he went into the lab and worked on his weaknesses. He added something to his game every year. He didn't stay stagnant. He didn't look at his production and say, oh, I just need to keep spamming the same things over and over. For him to be good, for him to be great, Gilbert Arenas talked about it on this podcast. What did he say? I had to add to my game. He said, I had to add. Every summer I went to the gym and I worked on a weakness and added to my game because he knew teams were watching him, scouting him out. He's the number one guy now, taking away what he does best. And as we've seen in this list right here from ChatGPT, the greatest and most elite scorers in the NBA have to have that versatility to their bag. And we'll finish it off right here. It says it is important to note, while these attributes are valuable for scoring, different players may excel in different areas. Each elite scorer brings their unique strengths to the game, and a combination of these attributes can vary from player to player, which I completely agree with that as well. I'm not going to ask every single great scorer to have all of these attributes, but they must possess some of them. And I believe that my list, and I'm going to go ahead and get to my list. I believe with my list, these players possess these attributes. I'm going to run through my list really quickly. And once I run through my list, we're going to go ahead and bring people up. Because it's just time to stop people from finessing because they don't like certain guys. Just, if you don't like a certain guy, like I don't really like Hakeem Olajuwon that much, but I'm not going to lie and say Hakeem Olajuwon is not a top 15 player all time. I'm not going to lie and say he's not one of the greatest centers of all time. When you talk about footwork and versatility, I'm not going to lie and say Hakeem Olajuwon did not have or possess those attributes. He did. This unfortunate reality is that I might not care for him. I might not care for some of his antics and some of the games he played behind the scenes with his team. At the end of the day, that has no bearing into who he was as a scorer. And sometimes you have to remove those things and just be honest about the game. We're going to start with I'm going to tell you guys my scoring list. So I'm going to start. I got a list of 10 players. And then after I tell you my 10 players, I'm going to tell you my honorable mention. Obviously, the guys that are right outside that 10 area. And we'll kind of go from there. So at number 10, I got Steph Curry. Right? Greatest shooter in modern basketball. One of the quickest releases. Remember when we talked about our list from ChatGPT, it talked about versatility. Steph Curry is an elite ball handling, lightning quick release. He's lightning quick as just a player himself. Right? He's dangerous with the ball. He's dangerous without the ball. He's constantly moving. He loves coming off screens. He knows how to cut, right? He's extremely fundamental, right? And all of these things, because he does possess elite NBA talents, have led to elite production. His versatility leads to that, right? And we've seen him evolve and develop as a player. We've seen him add to his bag as he's went on. Right. And he's to the tune of that he's become the greatest shooter ever in NBA history. Right. And you would think, OK, all he does is just chuck threes. We hear a lot of people say this about Steph Curry. Oh, he just chucks threes. But that's a lie, because if he was one-dimensional like that, he would be much easier to defend. The fact is that he is elite from the mid-range. He's an elite finisher at the rim, and he's gotten stronger. He's added to his game as time has went. That's why I have him at number 10 all time. Right? Number 10, top scorer of all time, Steph Curry. At number 9, I'm going to go with Larry Bird. Right now, Bird never led the league in scoring. When we talked about this yesterday, we had people up here telling us that you can't be an elite scorer if you didn't lead the league in scoring. Bird never led the league in scoring. And should I allow that to stop me from saying he's not one of the most elite scorers in NBA history? I'm not a fool. Right? Bird could hit the mid-range. He could hit the three in your face. He routinely could finish at the rim with either hand. That's who Bird was as a player, right? He got his shots off of screens. He used head fakes. He could split the defense in seconds. He had extremely soft touch at the rim. His handles and athleticism probably weren't the greatest, but they were good enough. And then when we looked at our list and we talked about efficiency, right? He's definitely in the 50, 40, 90 club. Larry Bird is one of the best scorers of the basketball of all time. And he didn't have to lead the league in scoring for me to know that. We'll move on to the next one. At number 8. At number 8, we got Carmelo Anthony. He was the man that we were talking about yesterday. The man was hated on yesterday, right? And I think a lot of the reason he's hated on is fandom. Fans are looking at the teams he was on. Teams didn't get it done. They probably didn't win the most, right? We had people up here lying about his playoff production. Unfortunately, that's not true. Unfortunately, that is not true, right? Not only, we could point to a ton of the other intangibles outside of scoring, but he was not only one of the most clutch shooters, one of the most clutch 3-level scorers of all time, but he brought a level of physicality. When we talked about physical gifts, and when you hear people like Paul Pierce and Tracy McGrady talk about who was the hardest player to defend, who did they hate going up against the most, these guys talk about Carmelo Anthony bringing a level of physicality as a 3-level scorer to the game that made him damn near impossible to guard. They talked about strategies that they use, and you basically had players like Dwayne Wade said, if you let a guy like Carmelo Anthony face you up, you're cooked. You have to make him play back to the basket. But he had so much in his bag that they had to try almost any and everything, shading bigs over to stop him. One of the greatest 3-level scorers of all time. And I call this man basically a naturally gifted scorer. Naturally gifted scorer. Just could score right out of his sleep. All right. And like I said, not everybody possesses all of the attributes on that list. I believe that Carmelo Anthony could have added a level of another layer of work ethic to this game that could have pushed him up on this list. Unfortunately, he didn't. Let's move on to number 7. Number 7, we got Tracy McGrady. Right? Do I really need to say any more about Tracy McGrady? Right? Some pure jumper, extreme athleticism, right? That physical gift, that God-given gift, God-given height, 6'8", perfect size as a scoring wing. All right. He did have the knee issues that kind of affected his longevity, but at his peak, he rivaled elite level scorers like Kobe Bryant in the league. Ultimate 3-level scorer with the physical gifts to match, and again, could score any which way you wanted it. Tracy McGrady, I got him at number 7 on this list. Let's move on to my number 6 pick. My number 6 is Jerry West. All right. We got to go back in time for this one. A lot of people don't want to go back in time and give some of these older players the credit that they deserve. But Jerry West also was what we call a naturally gifted scorer. He scored with ease. He also scored with consistency. And he accumulated a ton of points in doing it. Remember, that's just the end value result. He was an elite offensive player, right? He had great handles. He had great finishing ability around the rim. And he also had a great ability to not just draw contact, but also finish with contact. Jerry West, one of the greatest scorers of all time. And it's hard to really go against that, man. The man could just get a bucket anywhere on the court. Let's get to number 5. Number 5 on the list. A lot of people don't like to see James Harden on these lists because a lot of people have a lot of recency bias and a lot of fandom toward this man. Remove the biases, remove what you think about this man, and James Harden is one of the most gifted scorers the NBA has ever seen, especially when he was healthy in his prime in Houston, right? Elite level ball handling, made some of the toughest shots that we've ever seen, right? He had the physical gift of strength as a big burly guard. He would literally put his shoulder in the guys and use that to give them leverage for elite step backs and shots over guys who might be taller or even more athletic, right? But Harden used all of these things to become one of the best 3-level scorers in the game. In his prime, it was tough to stop him at the rim. You couldn't stop him in the mid-range. And he had a deadly 3-point shot, whether you were guarding him or not. And his playmaking, his ability to playmaking, which I think he's a bit undervalued by many, is what opened the court up even more for him. We got James Harden. James Harden at number 5. And when we get to number 4, so some people might say this is controversial or this might be too low for him. But at number 4, we got to go with LeBron James. Now, it's odd that LeBron James is on this list because LeBron James, his natural affinity, his naturally God-given ability, when he came into the league, his go-to was playmaking. He was an elite level playmaker. And we've seen guys like that, like the Magic Johnsons, right? But what did LeBron James do over time, right? What did he do over time? He expanded his offensive arsenal. LeBron James, unlike the guys like Magic Johnson, who was good offensively, he was okay as a scorer, but he was never looked at as an elite level scorer. LeBron James expanded his offensive arsenal, right? To the degree that he refined his ball handling skills. He improved his ability to create his own shot off the dribble, right? This development allowed him to penetrate defenses, finish at the rim, right? Layups, dunks, all that stuff. He was able to use the physicality there, that naturally God-given gift that we saw, right? To further enhance his scoring prowess. What did LeBron do? He improved his mid-range shooting. So he added versatility, mid-range shooting, outside shooting, right? Because he realized the value of having a reliable jump shot. That was the number one thing on the list. Being able to shoot the basketball. Being able to have a reliable jump shot makes him much more difficult to guard. We saw teams like the San Antonio Spurs shut him down because he was not he didn't have as many layers to his game as he evolved into. And so remember, work ethic as well. So through countless hours of practice, he honed his shooting ability, he honed his shooting mechanics, and that resulted in significant improvements in his game. And this development is what made him more versatile as a scoring threat, and defenders could no longer sag off of him, forcing them to respect his ability to shoot, right? That's not even it right there. See, LeBron James didn't stop there, right? His post-up game and his back-to-the-basket scoring, that also evolved. That's the crazier thing with LeBron. So he already had the combination of the size and the strength. He also had solid footwork, right? But when he elevated his post-up game and his back-to-the-basket game, that also gave him and made him a more versatile threat in the half-court offense, right? And that's not to even mention his basketball IQ and decision-making. That's not to mention his clutchness and his mental toughness. We ain't even touching on all that. But LeBron James added to his game, he became more versatile, and he turned himself through a ton of hard work, through great work ethic, he turned himself into one of the greatest scorers of all time. A lot of people don't like to admit that because they don't like LeBron. A lot of people don't like to admit that. Unfortunately, it's a real reality. It's a real reality. Just like the guy I was talking to yesterday when we were talking about Carmelo Anthony. I said, who is the better scorer as rookies, Carmelo or LeBron? Oh, Carmelo was the better scorer. Okay, so what happened? Did Carmelo just forget how to score and LeBron's just stayed consistent? And no, LeBron James just got into the lab and got better. Give the man credit for getting better. You're going to have a lot of haters, a lot of the people that don't like LeBron. They're going to run to the PED allegations and all that fake stuff. The end of the day, I don't care. I implore some of you regular Joes in the chat to go find a steroid doctor or somebody. Go start taking PEDs. And let's see if that makes you better. No, you don't just get better like that. You get better through a ton of hard work, through countless reps, really, really working on your game, really taking accountability for your weaknesses, and then addressing and working on those weaknesses. We got LeBron James. We got LeBron James at number 4. And number 3, we got the Mamba. Right? We can just start off by saying that Kobe Bryant is probably the greatest tough shot maker ever. Right? Because yesterday, one of the guys was saying something about your style. Do you take bad shots? Do you stop the ball? Well, yeah, that was something that was said about Kobe for the longest. But by Phil Jackson's own admission, he said our offense was designed that way. Our offense was designed for Kobe to take tough shots, to take the most shots, to have the volume. So do we allow the moments and times where he might have been inefficient? Do we allow the volume to stop us from saying that the Mamba is one of the greatest scorers of all time? No. If you run to the end result numbers, you're going to be blinded you're going to be blinded. Right? You're going to be blinded. You're going to be running with narratives. The people that run to the end result numbers are the Skip Baylesses and the people with the fake takes, the shock jocks, the people that can't understand and really break down the game. People that run the end result numbers and can't really put the game into context, that's what they run to. And if you start using numbers solely, then then the people at the top of your list are going to start looking really funny. And you won't have players like Kobe Bryant at the top. But Kobe Bryant, tireless work ethic, if we had to describe his game, right? Elite offensive production. We're talking about elite score from the age of 21 to 34. Do y'all know how many years of that it is? Like some of these guys was talking about him being in his prime for 10 years. No, we're talking about from the age of 21 to the age of 34 when he tore his Achilles tendon. This man was extremely athletic, that God-given physical ability that we talked about from ChatGPT, right? Ultimate, he took his fundamentals seriously. When you talk about just extremely fundamental, he took his fundamentals to the next level, right? Mid-range game comparable to that of Michael Jordan, clutch up there with LeBron and Michael Jordan, right? Ability to take over games at any time. And when we talk about him playing alongside Shaquille O'Neal, yes, Shaquille O'Neal was the best player on that team. Kobe Bryant was the best scorer on that team. And I don't care if Shaquille O'Neal averaged more points. I don't care if Shaquille O'Neal had a higher field goal percentage. Kobe Bryant was the best scorer on that team. Phil Jackson knew it. Everybody in the world knew it. And when it mattered most, the Mamba had the ball. Kobe Bryant is at number 3. At number 2, you guys, I got Kevin Durant, man. Kevin Durant is crazy, like, right? And Kevin Durant, a lot of people have found a way to bump Kevin Durant down on many of their lists because they're mad at him. They have biases toward him because they don't agree with his decision to go sign with the Golden State Warriors. Remove your emotions. Remove your biases. Look at the man as a player. Stop using these fake Skip Bayless talking points to craft these odd narratives. Durant is like a combination of Kobe, Tracy McGrady, and Larry Bird all in one. The only difference is that he's 7 feet tall. So he has all of those players' attributes, abilities to score the ball in one player, but he's 7 goddamn feet tall. That puts him on a whole nother level. There's never been another player at his size who moves that smoothly, shoots that well, finishes at the rim. His superb length and skill makes him capable of hitting shots on anybody, even centers. He's the biggest mismatch probably in the NBA today still. Right? His mid-range shot is automatic. Historically effective from the three-point line. Post-game has also evolved. We've seen him evolve and develop that post-game, and now that's a weapon. And he seems to add a new strength year after year. Right? He's for the people that want those guys for the people that want him to lead the league in scoring, yeah, he's definitely done that. He's done that 4 times, right? And he's also been able to do this even when he's played with other elite scorers. When he played with Russell Westbrook, he still didn't allow that to take away from his scoring prowess. When he played with Curry and Klay Thompson, he still was the best scorer on that team, right? So it doesn't matter who you put around him or what setting or situation you put him in, he's going to be the best scorer, right? He's going to be the best scorer. And we can only imagine where he would rank right now in NBA history had he not have torn his Achilles, had they have been able to secure that championship. And that's the unfortunate reality right there. But the injury hit him right there. But Kevin Durant, I got Kevin Durant at number 2 all time. And we're not even going to finesse. Like some of you guys say that I don't like the 90s, or I don't like Jordan, or y'all got to stop, man. Y'all got to stop with this nonsense and stupidity. Y'all got to stop with the nonsense and stupidity, right? Jordan is an all-time great in multiple aspects. The man is a pure scorer. You blend that with his athleticism, and this is what Jordan did, because Jordan came into the NBA as a right-hand dominant player with athleticism, but he added to his game, right? When he came into the league, it was athleticism and power, just being bigger, faster than most of the guards in the league at that time, right? He also has unnaturally large hands, right? Allowing him to manipulate the ball and do things with the balls that other guards couldn't do. That's another God-given gift that allows him to blow past defenders, all these crazy layups that you see, being able to hold onto the ball and still finish at the last second on his way down. We got to talk about Michael Jordan's mentality as a player. That might have been his biggest offensive weapon. It's just his mentality. He never stopped attacking you. He never stopped attacking you, even sometimes when it was a detriment to his own team. And we saw that in the early years. Those years that Scottie Pippen was chastising him for. We can understand that, yeah, maybe his mentality was kind of backfiring on him there. But when he was able to put it all together, when he was able to add to his bag, when they put a better team and things around him, we see how it came to a head. And then we talk about Jordan in the latter years, in that second three-peat. What did he do? What did he add to his game as his athleticism might not have been the same? What did he do? Jordan said, okay, damn, I'm losing one of my gifts. Father Time is taking one of my gifts. Father Time is kind of chipping away at my athleticism. Remember, Jordan started dealing with that knee problem. When he talked about it, he'd be like his knee would be swollen. We talk about from 96, 97, 98, 99, the man's knee would be swollen after every game like a softball. So as his athleticism started to wane, what did Jordan? Jordan said, I have to find a way to become more versatile. I have to add something to my game. Then he added the most dominant post fadeaway that we've ever seen in NBA history. So even Jordan, progressing into the second half of his career, still understood that I'm not going to allow Father Time to stop me from being the best player on the floor. If Father Time is going to take away my naturally God-given gift, then I'm going to go use my work ethic like we saw on the list with ChatGPT, and I'm going to add another element to my game that nobody can stop. And that's when he added that post fadeaway. So work ethic, versatility. He had the IQ to recognize that his athleticism was waning. Jordan, you can talk about the competition that he played. He dominated it. He dominated them, though. He put in the work. And Jordan, I got Jordan as number one as the best scorer of all time. I'm on drop the link. And when I drop this link, I want you to now try to come up here, stand on business, right? You said it was a stupid conversation. I want you to come make sense of you putting David Robinson as one of the best scorers of all time. I want you to do that. Oh, and before we get that, let me give you guys my honorable mention list, because I think my honorable mention list is very important as well. So right outside of my top 10, I got players like Allen Iverson, Adrian Dantley, and Alex English. I also have Akeem Olajuwon in there as well. I think those guys are all deserving of being in the honorable mention right outside of that top 10. And I'm sure you can name plenty more guys as well. Those were just the first four that I like. Some of you guys might have others that you like. But I want to try to stay consistent with the true definition of what an elite level scorer is. And let's not run to some of the made up fictitious definitions that people like to generate in their minds just to exclude certain players that they don't like for whatever reason, or to boost up players that they do like for whatever reason. Right. And we got to see that. And like I said, I'll say right here, like there's plenty of NBA players that can score the basketball, right? You got a lot of guys in the NBA that are 3-point snipers. They can score, but they can only score one way. You got a lot of guys in the league that are slashers that can only slash, right? Drivers of the basketball. You got a lot of guys in the league that are one-on-one specialists. You got some guys, like we saw many of the bigs on this guy's list yesterday, who are just mostly post scorers, back to the basket guys. They're good scorers. I'm not going to take that away from them. But the game's top players, you guys, the game's best players excel at getting their points through multiple methods, allowing them to remain productive when opponents counter one of those strengths. When we talked about Wilt Chamberlain, right? And I think this was what's the biggest expose of it all. We talk about Wilt Chamberlain, great in the regular season, but when the game got tougher in the playoff, all that productivity, it waned and it dropped a little bit. Why? And it probably dropped a bit because maybe Wilt didn't have multiple methods to score and to remain productive when opponents counteracted his best strengths. You can't counteract Jordan and stop him from scoring because he has multiple layers to his scoring game. We heard people like Sturdy say, oh, Wilt became a playmaker. So if they took away his scoring to the point where he had to defer to his playmaking and he couldn't counter the defense with other scoring utensils, maybe that's a limit to his bag that we now need to consider. So let's not try to redefine things. I think a lot of people try to redefine things in the hopes of just trying to be right. Irregardless, we even heard the J guy yesterday ultimately end up admitting when we were comparing LeBron James and Michael Jordan, he just emotionally admitted, well, Jordan just has more skills. He just admitted it. But he still wanted to hold on to this fictional made-up list in his head, just like Stand on Business wanted to do. And it's sad. I know you guys want to try to sound like you know the game of basketball, but it's the reason why people like Stand on Business don't really debate. They don't really get into real serious debates on here. They get up here and try to make noise. You try to use words that really people who talk basketball never use. You try to confuse people with lingo that doesn't really pertain to the game of basketball. And this is not very simple, right? I implore people like Stando Business and the J Guy, go get a fit aid, man. Go clear your minds of the nonsense, man. Clear your minds of the stupidity, right? Get you a fit aid, man. Fit aid right here, man. Turmeric, electrolytes, glucosamine, all your omega-3s. Open your mind up, man. The game of basketball is not that complicated. You guys don't have to run to the most complex analytics. You don't have to segment Michael Jordan's career to a 9-year span and compare it to LeBron James' 16-year prime to determine who's the better scorer. You don't have to do that. We have two eyes. We can look at base things. We can look at their mental makeup. We can look at their improvements on a year-by-year basis. These are the things that really define who the better scorers are. And it's not always these end result numbers like the statisticians. And I think when you got like people in this basketball circuit, like the Marses, like the Lows, like the Sturdies, that rely so much so on stats, they actually forget that there's a real side of basketball. That real side of basketball where you actually have to pick up the basketball and go execute. That's why I tell people, go hoop. Go hoop. It's a lot of people don't know how to do that. Just go hoop. It's not the eye test. It's not necessarily an eye test. You got John. He says LeBron is the greatest scorer ever. I mean, if based on your criteria, you want to put LeBron at number one, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. I'm just telling you what my list is and my reasonings. And the foundation for my reasons is actually based out of a real definition for what an elite level scorer is, not a fake, fictitious definition that somebody's made up in their own mind that makes completely no sense. We'll go ahead and drop the link. I mean, and this is where a lot of people make George sound correct. When George came in yesterday, George actually made sense. George came in and said, I told y'all about these stats. He said, I told y'all these stats are going to get y'all in trouble. See, that's where George is right? As much as you guys want to discredit Kwame Brown was actually right when he said, all the stat geeks are going to pick up the books and look at the books and say that LeBron James is the best scorer of all time. Because you're going to be looking at end results. It's hard for me to put it's hard for me to put LeBron over Kobe. It's hard for me to put LeBron over Jordan or KD. These are some of the most naturally gifted scorers ever. LeBron has put in a ton of work to the tune that he's probably in most people's list, a top 10 scorer of all time. But it's hard for me to put him over the best of the best. That's just that's when you have to take your fandom out of it. And you actually just have to start using common sense, which a lot of people don't know how to do that. A lot of people coming in these debates trying to find some weird avenue on how can I be right today? This is why Stand On Business and people like that, they have extremely inconsistent takes. And I called Stand On Business out about it the other day. I said, I hear you over on Bang's channel telling the world how Anthony Davis needs to add X, Y, and Z, how all these players need to add X, Y, and Z to their game and come back and be better. But yet now all of a sudden you're saying none of that matters. Just to try to sound right today. Y'all got to stop. Just get out your feelings, man. Get out your feelings, man. You look, this is not my definition. Remember, I'll leave it on the screen. I'll put it on the screen so you guys, as you guys come up here, some of you guys are going to need to reference ChatGPT and the real definition of what an elite scorer is. And why do we say this is the most? Why do we say this is probably the most accurate definition of an elite level scorer? Because there are no biases in this answer. There are no biases in this answer. So we take this and we use this constructed these constructed elements or attributes to determine who the best scorer is. And when I look at these attributes, in none of these attributes do these attributes say, go pick the guy who leads the league in points per game. None of these attributes say, go pick the guy that has the highest field goal percentage. None of these attributes say, like Sturdy tried to add in, who has the highest true shooting percentage. Oh, and then when the true shooting percentage or even the effective field goal percentage fail you, then they start to say, well, relative to their era. And they start to throw in terms. It's just like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Y'all are muddy in the water. Y'all making this more complicated than what it is, and it's really not that serious. Let me get this link up. Hopefully we can get some people here. You got John Wick says, Lamont, there are no proven analytics that help Kobe or KD bend over LeBron. Okay. And I didn't use analytics to put KD or Kobe over LeBron. That's not what I used. John Wick. See, John Wick, you need to rewind and actually go watch from the beginning and stop. Don't be a retard like Stand On Business was being yesterday. Don't be retarded. Nothing that I said was based out of analytics or stats. Everything that I said was based on all the key attributes necessary to be an elite level scorer. Shooting skills, shot creation, offensive versatility, basketball IQ, footwork, confidence, mental toughness, and physical attributes, along with work ethic and hard work. Does LeBron James possess a lot of those? Yes. But I believe that Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan possess more of those. Kevin Durant possesses more of those. Unfortunately, but fourth in NBA history for a guy that was looked at as a pass first player coming into the league is pretty fucking good. And that's a testament. He says, what does it say at the end? What do you mean down here? It's just a conclusion. I read that too. It says, it is important to note that these attributes are valuable for scoring. Different players may excel in different areas. Each elite scorer brings their unique strength to the game, and combination of these attributes can vary from player to player. Exactly what I said as well. I said, I don't require everybody on my list to possess all of these attributes, but you need to possess some of them. The more of them you possess, the better. That's all we saying. So when we talk about when we talk about a guy like let's use, we could talk about a guy like Hakeem Olajuwon. I don't expect Hakeem Olajuwon to have the same shooting skills as some of the players on this list. I don't even expect him to have the same shot creation as some of the players on the list, but he does have some. He's just not as good as some of the other players on this list. He doesn't have the versatility as some of the players on this list. He has the IQ. His IQ might be up there with one of the top. His footwork might be on the top. I don't know if his confidence and mental toughness is up there with the LeBrons, with the Kobes, and with the Jordans. I don't know if it's up there. So we have multiple aspects of this list where I feel certain players kind of fall short and I have to bump them down. But the one thing I know for a fact is that in-value results don't dictate who you are. In-value results don't tell who you are as a player. Just like when Steph Curry led the league in scoring, somebody please explain to me, when Steph Curry led the league in steals, please explain to me why nobody said this is the best defensive perimeter defender in the league. Or should we run to the stats and run around saying, like idiots, that Steph Curry is the best defender in the league because he led the league in steals? Same with Iverson. Iverson led the league in steals, right? Iverson led the league in steals in a league with Kobe and Ron Artest. I guess because of the stats, he's a better defender than those two, right? Yeah, all I say is stop running to in-value results. It's just like what Hoop Jargon said. Somebody tried to get on Hoop Jargon because in college, PJ Tucker scored 21 points, led the team in scoring when they played Texas, right? You fail to mention that he was only scoring those goddamn buckets because of elite playmakers diming him off and he just scoring layups at the rim. It wasn't because he had no elite. Hold on. Hoop jargon will come in here and tell you. He didn't have no elite shooting skills. He didn't have them elite shot creation. He didn't have elite offensive versatility. That man was getting dimed off and scored 21 points from elite playmakers. PJ Tucker was, right? Picking apart. Obviously, he was picking apart their 1-3-1 zone. And if you know anything about the 1-3-1 zone, if you put a guy on the bottom low end, on the back end of it, if you're not applying the proper ball pressure, that guard is gonna dice you up. And he's gonna be diming that big off that's sitting behind the defense. Also, so should we assume that because PJ Tucker dropped 21 points that game, he's the best scorer on the floor? That's what the numbers would tell you. Thank you, Hoop Jargon. I'm glad Hoop Jargon is here too. He said, I'll tell you, he says you did, LaMarcus Aldridge did play. Thank you. LaMarcus Aldridge was the best scorer on that team. And I don't care how many points PJ Tucker scored in any particular game. Craziness. I'm going to drop the link. Let's get this link in here. And we can get y'all to come pull up, man. Then we can get y'all thoughts on this list, man. What would you change? Who would you take out? What would you move around? I don't necessarily care. I don't expect people to have the same exact list. I don't expect people to have the same exact list, but I do expect your list to be based out of some type of reason and not some fictitious definition that you've made up in your head and then walk away from it telling us that, oh, I like production. Yeah, everybody likes production. But how do you get to production? How do you get to production? You cannot get to elite level production without all of the attributes on this list. And once you start adding more of these attributes to your game, you get more production. That's a hold on. We got Tyson up here first, and we got Action Jackson. And let me get Tyson. What's good, Tyson, man? Glad to have you on today.
Right, appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you, man. Salute the list.
What would you make anything that you didn't like?
I just gotta have Kareem in there, and I understand your logic. I understand what you're saying. I understand, your point of view of it, where you value, versatility, and obviously your reference you brought up values that too. But at the same time, if somebody does one thing better than another player does their other thing, but they fall off in other categories, we still got to have them in there, bro. Just because somebody is, like I said, versatility is very important. I'm not denying that, and most of your elite scorers are versatile. That versatility helps them become elite scorers, and I agree with you on that. But it's anomalies to that too. And when we talk about your Shaqs, when we talk about your Kareems, I understand your issue with Wilt in his playoff translation. That's fine. We could take him off. When we talk about your Adrian Dantleys, who you have in your honorable mention, but what he done in the span of 6-7 years in Utah was amazing. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about a 30-point score on, 54% shooting. And all those players you name can't match that. Yes, they have a bigger bag, but his mid-range game was elite. It was way better than all those players, all their things combined. So if I do one thing better than you do all three of your things, I'm still a better scorer. That's my issue with your take on versatility. That's all.
Yeah, and again, I know we favor one thing getting spammed. See, and I think when I started with this, the one thing that I said was this. There's plenty of guys in the league that are great snipers. There are plenty of guys in the league that are great in the post. There are plenty of guys in the league that are great slashers. I think that for me, the reality it is that the elite of the elite guys, they start to excel and separate themselves from everybody else because they can get their points through multiple methods. And then you would ask yourself, okay, why in the game of basketball is it important to get your points through multiple methods, right? And this is because good defenses and good teams start to find ways to counteract. They start to find ways to counteract what you do best.
Agreed.
And that's why I say when you look at the top guys on my list, I felt like when you countered what they did best, did they have another elite offensive skill that still allowed them to score at the same velocity? And
my only problem.
Like Kareem was great.
Right.
Kareem was probably top 20.
Top 20?
I mean, obviously I only went so far on my list. And top 20 is still the top less than 1% in all NBA history.
I agree with.
So we're still talking about a 99 percentile that he's in. It's not so. I don't feel like it's disrespectful to say he's top 20. But when I look at my list of what the elements are to be an elite scorer, I just think there are other guys that fit more of that criteria at a higher level than Kareem. Now his hook shot was dominant. His natural physical gift of his height, dominant.
Correct.
But when we go to some of the other, when we go to some of the other elements of that list, like shot creation and things like that, I don't know if he meets the level of a Jordan or a LeBron or a Kobe or a T-Mac, players like that. So again, when we start to get to other attributes of the list,
let me push back real quick.
He meets that criteria.
Let me push back. I agree with all that. No, he's not the playmaker or the shot creator or the perimeter player or all these things. But what he did, you talking about when teams do something to stop you, that's what we have to get to. We have to get to a point where you can stop this move. You have to get to a point where you can stop a Shaq. You got to get to a point where you can stop an Adrian Dantley. So if they don't do that and we don't get to that point, then they belong on that list because that move was that dominant. So if, like I said, if I can do this one thing better than you can do all three of your thing, and the production shows that, and the playoff translation shows that, and the championship show that, and the accolades show that, then I belong on that list. Don't take me out of there because I can do my one thing better than you can do all three. Or all four, or whatever your list. However many things on your list.
See, what we're doing now is you're taking one of the attributes, and what you're saying is because he was good at this attribute, you're trying to take that one attribute and give him 10 points for it, as opposed to keeping it balanced along all of the criteria, giving him 1 point, and then judging him fairly amongst all the other criteria.
But yes, that's how scoring works.
It's just like Jordan's fadeaway. Jordan's fadeaway was damn near unstoppable.
100%.
But at the end of the day, I'm not just going to walk like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was a lot more than a sky hook. I mean,
100%.
On average, when I'm looking at his average right here on Synergy, he only shot the sky hook 3 times a game. So when you guys get this unstoppable move, it's not like he was shooting it 15 times a game. Jordan shot his fadeaway more than 3 times a game.
I understand that.
So the thing is, what are you not telling me about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar if on average he only shot the skyhook 3 times per game?
So what does that tell you?
So what I'm saying is if he only shot it 3 times a game, but yet the man was scoring over 20 points per game, how was he getting all the other points? Yes, he did have versatility. Right?
Okay.
He did have versatility, which is why he's in the top 20 all time.
But why are you taking him out of the top 10, Lamont?
My top 10 is my top 10.
No, I understand what you're saying. I'm asking you why.
I feel like I've explained this to you.
Okay, so you value versatility.
No,
I got you.
I said, no, that's not what I said. I said, so there's no bias. I said, what we're going to do is, so we're going to see what the definition of an elite offensive player is. Not by my definition. We're going to ask ChatGPT, and I'm going to formulate a list out of that criteria so that I don't create a list out of my brain that's biased. So when the thing is, Kareem falls in there. He just doesn't fall as high as some of the other guys. So it seems like because you like Kareem, you're mad at me because I don't have him. I love Kareem. I love him.
I'm not mad at you, brother.
Unfortunately, based on the criteria, he can't get bumped up higher. It's not my fault. That's not my fault.
Yeah, but see, you taking away that last paragraph of the thing. You taking away from that last paragraph of the thing that tells you that these players have different combinations of which all these things. So when my combination of this is elite inside scoring and less perimeter, but I'm still giving you the same production on better field goal percentage, on all these things, and it's translation, and nobody can formulate a way to stop what I'm doing, then to me, I'll go that list. But I respect what your
that's
decision
not true.
on
But
how you do it.
You based him being unstoppable around a sky hook that he only shot on average.
No. I'm not saying that. I wasn't saying that. I was just talking.
I'm just going off what you said. You formulated all of this around him having an unstoppable sky hook. It was so unstoppable that he only shot it 3 times.
I see what you're doing. You're gonna argue a different point than what I'm saying.
It's not a different point. Because
I see what you're doing.
No. But Tyson, you said the sky hook was unstoppable.
Okay. Well, you know that. Okay, we'll take that off then. Oh, that's my fault. I'll take the L on that. But that still doesn't take away what Kareem did with the numbers, with the production, with the playoff translation, with the impact, all these things. And you could. So he did have versatility. You know so add the versatility in there.
And you know what? He's one of the top 20 scorers of all time, which is a hell of a category to be in.
Right, but if you think Tracy McGrady, with all the things he does, is better at that thing that Kareem did, or all the things that Kareem did, then you're mistaken to me.
But the thing is, okay, so did a Kareem have a deadlier go-to move than Tracy McGrady? Yes, but that's only one aspect of 10 of what makes up an elite level score. So we give that 1 point to Kareem. Now we have to start addressing all the other points. See, what you want to do is you want to take that one unstoppable move and you're trying to give Kareem 10 points and then we got to give him 1 point for that because there's multiple layers to this. And see, that's why I said we got to remove our fandom and we got to judge it fairly. Judging it fairly, we weigh it fairly. I believe he has an unstoppable move. You give that physical gift. We give physical gifts to Kareem. But outside of that, once we start going to shooting, shot creation, all these other things, I feel like guys like Tracy McGrady beat him out. Does it mean that this guy is a better player than Kareem? No. But as far as scoring goes, yes, I believe they're better scorers.
Okay. And in my opinion, you are weighting for your argument. You are weighting all these things equal.
I have to.
Huh?
I have to.
Yeah, and I disagree with that because it's levels to each of those things. So to say,
what does that mean? What do you mean? What do you mean there's levels? So let me show you the list. And so if there's levels, if this list isn't well balanced, and there's something that there's some portion of this criteria that ChatGPT created that you want to remove or take out or change because you don't feel like it's see, you want me to create a criteria that is imbalanced and favors everything Kareem does.
I don't want you to create. I want you to
didn't create this. No, ChatGPT created it based on the millions and millions of pieces of information that's out there in the world about what makes up an elite offensive player. And I'm taking that criteria and I'm trying to fit Kareem in. And he does measure up in a few categories, but in a lot of these categories, he's just not better than the Jordans, the Kobe's, and some of the KDs. In a lot of the categories, he doesn't measure up to the best of the best. Sure.
So what I'm saying is you want to sit up here and favor a jack of all trades than somebody who is elite and transcendent.
But what you're saying, but hold on. Is Kareem a better player than these guys? Yes. If we were doing it
I'm breaking it down in the scoring. I'm not talking about better player. I'm not adding defense. I'm not adding playmaking. I'm talking about scoring.
I'm going to go through each category for you. So tell me a player. Okay, we'll just use Kevin Durant. So we'll use Kevin Durant and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Okay, so according to ChatGPT, and I'll put it on the screen so you can see it. Let's just share my screen. And I want you to tell me
I got what you're saying, brother. Go ahead.
I want you to, so the number one attribute, it says an elite scorer needs to possess several key attributes to contribute to their ability to consistently put points on the board. Here's some of the best attributes. Number one, it says shooting skills. An elite scorer has exceptional shooting ability. They are proficient shooting the ball, various distances, angles, including mid-range three-pointer and free throws. They have a smooth shooting form, quick release, and high shooting percentage. Now, when you compare Kevin Durant and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who has better shooting skills?
Who? Who was it?
Kevin Durant and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Kevin Durant has better shooting skills.
That's 1 point. That's 1 point to KD. Shot creation. Elite scorers have the ability to create their own shot. They can effectively use dribble moves, crossovers, step backs, fadeaways, and other techniques to create separation from defenders to get their shot off. To you, who has better shot creation? Kevin Durant or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
On all three levels, Kevin Durant.
Okay, so 2 points for Kevin Durant. Offensive versatility.
He can get all the points, bro. He can get all of them. That's not the end all be all though, bro.
Okay. So that means what?
That's what I said. I get your point. I get your point. Yes, he's the jack of all trades. So he's better than him at all those skills.
So here's the
problem. I understand what you're saying, brother. But at the end of the day, what makes Steph Curry elite is that he's the greatest shooter of all time. He does that better than anybody else ever.
Bro.
So I don't care.
What I'm saying is this: we have to have a set criteria, because otherwise people are going to go off on tangents like you're doing right now and just.
I'm not going off on a tangent, brother. I'm telling you, being good at everything is not.
You don't have criteria for nothing that you're saying.
Hold on.
You're just saying stuff, and you don't have no. What is your criteria for saying that Kareem? Like, if you had to explain this to an alien from outer space, and you had to explain to an alien using 10 different bullet points, why is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar a better scorer than Kevin Durant?
Damn, what are your 10 bullet points? What is the alien?
No, I'm the alien. Tell me the alien. I don't know nothing about basketball, but I need to know about Kevin Durant and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to take it back to my planet. And I need to know, explain to me why Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is a better scorer in 10 bullet points than Kevin Durant, please.
Well, first of all, I said Tracy McGrady. Now you're moving to Kevin Durant. Now Kevin Durant has a better argument, first of all. So we can say Kevin Durant has a better argument.
Do you want to do this list with Tracy McGrady then?
I was just saying. I was talking about who clear like it clears. It's not even close. Now Kevin Durant and Kareem, we can have a conversation. Okay, but Kevin Durant and Tracy McGrady, there's no conversation.
Let's go through this criteria. And let's compare this criteria with Tracy McGrady and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
It'll be the same thing. But when the aliens, hold on.
Are you saying that with this list, Tracy McGrady will win out again?
Let me finish. When the alien comes, I'm gonna say Kareem produced more on better efficiency at a higher clip. That's made him the better scorer. That's what I'm gonna say.
I've been saying the whole time, if you run to end value results, it's gonna blind you to the truth. And that's why nothing that I said today.
Like a big man that don't shoot threes would never crack top 10.
No, hold on. That's not true, because I had Hakeem Olajuwon right outside my top 10, and he don't shoot threes. But at the end of the day,
that's why I said top 10.
Olajuwon, because if I compared Hakeem Olajuwon as shooting skills, if we go off this list, shooting skills, and we compare Hakeem and Kareem, who has the better shooting skills? It says as an elite scorer, shooting ability, right, from mid-range three-pointers to free throws, smooth form, quick release, and high shooting percentage. As far as shooting, who has the better shot? Hakeem Olajuwon or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? You guys tell me.
I'm putting Dirk over both of them.
No, listen to what I'm saying. I just said Hakeem and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Please tell me the answer to that.
I think it's Kareem.
You said Kareem has a better shooting form than Hakeem Olajuwon.
You think Hakeem Olajuwon was a great big man shooter?
Dude, you must. How old is you? Just go off the list, man. Kareem had the better form. Hakeem had the better form.
Yeah, Hakeem had the better form.
Okay, so we'll go to the next. We'll go to the next one. Shot creation. Elite scorers have the.
Now we count form. Form is what counts.
Hold on, Tyson. It says right here, number 2. This is not my list. Number 2 on the list.
Well, why are you using it?
Hold on. Between Hakeem and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, shot creation. Elite scorers have the ability to create their own shots, use dribble moves, crossovers, step backs, and fadeaways, techniques to create separation against defenders to get their shot off. Who has the better shot creation? Hakeem Olajuwon or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? Please tell me the answer.
Hakeem.
That's 2 points for Hakeem Olajuwon.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
That's not tough. He needed that's not tough because Watchcott needed a point guard.
Let's go to number 3. Hold on, let's go to number 3.
He needed a point guard to win. He didn't need no point guard to get buckets.
Hold on, let's go to number 3. A top score, the offensive versatility. A top scorer is not limited to one particular style of scoring. They score in different ways, including off the dribble, catch and shoot, posting up, driving to the basket, finishing at the rim. Versatility makes it difficult for defenders to predict and stop their scoring attempts. Can you please tell me who was the more offensively versatile player, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or Hakeem Olajuwon? Please tell me.
Hakeem.
Okay, so that's 3-0 for Hakeem Olajuwon. And I don't even like Hakeem. Okay, we go to basketball IQ.
This is nonsense.
Okay, hold on. That's not nonsense. Elite. Okay, it says basketball IQ. Elite scorers possess high basketball IQ, allowing them to read defenses, exploit weaknesses, and make intelligent scoring decisions. They understand spacing, timing, and how to manipulate defenders to create scoring opportunities for themselves and others. This is probably going to be a little bit closer. I don't know what you're going to choose, but who has the better basketball IQ to you? Hakeem Olajuwon or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
That's hard to quantify, but I mean,
just give me an answer.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to answer because I don't know.
Kareem to give him a point since he's struggling right now.
No, I'm not going to say something that I don't feel is true. I don't know.
And hoop jargon, I agree. This one's a push. But I'm gonna let Tyson choose. Right now it's 3-0 Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yeah, that's a push. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's hard to quantify.
So right now that we have 3-0 and 1 with the tie. So we'll move on to the next one. Footwork. Great footwork is crucial for scoring efficiently. Elite scores.
Hakeem, you ain't even got to finish that. You ain't even got to finish that. You ain't even got to finish that.
Okay, yep. So we have 4-0 and 1. Hakeem. Okay, so we get to the next one, and this is another one that could get dicey. Confidence and mental toughness. Scoring consistently at an elite level requires confidence and mental toughness.
Keep going.
Elite scorers have a strong belief in their abilities, remain composed in high pressure situations, not afraid to take big shots, and mental resilience to bounce back from missed shot attempts. This might be a push, but you tell me who has the better confidence and mental toughness, Kareem or Hakeem?
This is the problem with your argument,
It's
Lamont.
not my argument.
No, but this is the problem with what you're going by, Lamont. This is the problem. You can do that with Vince Carter. You could do that with Rudy Gay. You could do that with Allen Iverson. You could do that with all these players, and they're gonna win all of them.
But
and Kareem is still better.
But you know what they're not gonna win out over Kareem in at the end of the day. Because remember, scoring is just one small aspect.
So you have to go to the production.
No.
You have to go to the production.
See, what you don't want to do is because
you don't want to do is
listen to what I'm saying.
Oh my God.
Scoring is just one aspect of the game of basketball. If we're just talking about as a basketball
I'm talking about scoring, Lamont.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar surpasses all of these guys.
Scoring is the main aspect of the game.
No, scoring is the main aspect.
Hey, Tyson, this is very easy, bro.
So hold on, let's go to the next one.
This is easy work. This is easy work, bro. Let's do it with Vince Carter.
Okay,
let's do it with Vince Carter.
Hold on.
Let's do it with Rudy Gay.
Hold on. Let's do this right here. Hold on, Chosen. So Tyson, since ChatGPT made a flawed criteria, let me get No Chill Gil in here because man. Hold on. Let's do it. Let's play your game.
Tyson. Let's play it.
I'm gonna drop the link for
let's play it with Rudy Gay.
No, Tyson. No, let's not do that.
Let's do that.
Hold on, Tyson.
Exactly.
You tell me. Hold on. Why are you trying to take a guy?
Because that shows that this is flawed. Because it shows that this is flawed.
Tyson, I said yesterday.
Lamont, is that giving a ring?
We don't compare.
Yes, we are.
To all-stars.
But that's proving. Hold on, Lamont. Hold on. Tyson, this is what I want you to do. Since ChatGPT, and I'm gonna drop the link while I'm doing this. I'm gonna tell you the question. Let me drop this link for Gilbert Arenas real quick. Since ChatGPT, based on the question that I asked it, gave me a formula that you feel is flawed. Tell me what to ask ChatGPT so we can come up with a formula that fits your narrative better. What should I ask ChatGPT? How should I ask them to create this new
formula to determine who's an elite level scorer?
Here's the difference between me and you,
Tell
Lamont.
me a question, please.
I don't give a fuck about Chat GPT.
No, because I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear.
I don't care about Chat
No.
GPT.
I don't want to hear your criteria. I want a non-biased criteria based on how you want this formulated. So tell me what I should tell Chat GPT right now, so we can come up with a new formula, and we'll see if Kareem comes out on top with this new formula. What should I ask Chat GPT?
Who's the best scorers of all time?
Who is the what?
Who's the best scorers of all time?
Okay, so
who's the best NBA scorers of all time?
That's too open-ended because
no. See, you asked me to ask the question, and now you want to move the goalpost.
Who are the best? Who are the best
scores in NBA history? In NBA history,
Karl Malone, Kobe.
Yeah, they're going to go up points. They're going to go up.
And that's just that.
Oh, all right, then. They're going to go to production, but they're unbiased, Lamont.
Yeah.
You're going to see what it goes to.
They're unbiased, Lamont. They're going to go to production.
So you're basically saying LeBron James is the greatest scorer of all time.
I'm not saying that.
No, hold on.
Do you really say that? You're going by total?
Production is not total points. Production is not just total points. Projection is not just total points.
Criteria is all over the place. You got to make it make sense. You can't just be hollering out stuff.
Is not just total points.
Hold on.
You can't just be hollering out stuff because you're in your feelings.
Production is not just total points, bro.
I wanted Gilbert Arenas to talk about this yesterday when we talked about it, but now that he's here, Gilbert, what are your thoughts on? Because this is a guy who was considered an elite scorer in the NBA. Hold on, we can't hear you, Gilbert. We can't hear you. So when he fixes his audio, he's gonna come in and tell us what an elite level scorer is from a guy who was an elite level scorer in the NBA.
I was about to say, because he was an elite level scorer himself.
He tells you what an elite level scorer is. Are you gonna take that from a guy who was an elite level scorer in the NBA?
Hey, salute Gilbert Arenas. I don't know what he gonna say. Salute him, though. That brother did it at the highest of levels, and I salute that man. Don't get it twisted.
I got a question for you.
I'm the only one that had him in the top 10 yesterday.
The problem is he already came on the panel and said it. He said his answer. He was like when we did the interview with him.
I didn't see it, my brother. My apologies. I didn't see it.
Yeah, I know. You're probably not gonna like his answer because it's not even not gonna lend much to your dominant one move answer.
But Lamont, all I did was prove that your criteria was flawed. That Chat GPT criteria was flawed because you can do that because if you just going by that list and giving out points for each one, I can throw Rudy Gay, I can throw all perimeter players, and they're gonna be over elite centers. And that's just not, and they're just not better scores. That's this period.
All right.
Correct or not correct? Do you agree or not agree?
Hold on. We're just gonna fix it right
Oh
here.
my god.
And we're gonna get an answer from a guy that was an elite.
Salute.
Gil, can you hear us, man? No, we can't hear you. I can't hear you. You muted. I could barely hear you.
It's low. Shit,
can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. Okay. Still?
You can turn it down a little bit. You're good now.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
All right. We're good, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, did you hear what we were talking about?
Yeah.
How you feel about it, G?
The biggest argument. Yeah, this is the biggest argument that we have.
Can't hear him again.
Yeah, your sound cut out again.
Wait, hold on. Why is it?
Oh no, you good now. You good now.
We good? Okay, here we go.
All
right. Well, okay, the criteria that you're using is unfair to the older guys because the game is developed. So it would go against someone like Wilt and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Because back then there was no step backs and hezzies and shit like that. So those are actually considered double dribbles and trebles. So there's this new criterias. But okay, who's the better scorer? There's a reason Michael Jordan was considered the best player in the world by 91, 92, and he wasn't even at 18,000 points over Kareem, because a better score is the ability. It's the way you're doing it. It has nothing to do with total points. It has nothing to do with that. It's the ability to create points overall. And Michael Jordan had that ability, already. So that's why they gave him the crown. Who's the better, overall score between, was it Hakeem? I mean, who is it? KD and
Kareem.
It'd be KD. Like when we're saying natural score, that KD for us is top 3. Natural, like he's gonna be top 3 of all time of natural scores.
Agreed. Agreed.
Okay. Oh, okay. Now, I'm going to ask you this, because we had an argument about a certain player yesterday that I think is undervalued, similar to how you yourself get undervalued. Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah, Carmelo.
Where does he fall in this?
He would be top. He would be top 7.
Oh,
when it comes to score. See, the problem with it is
it's not fair.
The game was different then, right? So when you're trying to make an argument for Kareem, they're going to use how you scored, right? Oh, fucking hook shot. You had one fucking move, right? You didn't develop into anything else. You didn't have no extra moves. It's just one fucking move. We're talking about, you're talking about the 70s. You're going to lose every argument to all the new criterias today, especially like you're going to lose it to someone like Shaquille O'Neal and things like that, of who had the better offensive ability. So it's one of those things where you're just going to bang your head. No one's wrong, right? Even with the IQ, whose IQ is higher?
Hard to quantify.
Yeah, that one's unless you're playing in that locker room and say, okay, this fucking
right.
Dumb. He's basketball dumb. It's really hard to gauge it when you're just watching from the games.
What do you have a player like Shaq Gilbert?
Shaq as what?
As a scorer, just as a scorer.
Okay, so look, this is funny because we were trying to do our top 5 of all time. We wanted to do top 5 centers. So I've seen some of the centers that they had, and I'm like, so I watched Kareem. I was watching a Kareem and Wilt highlight today. And I'm like, well, I mean, Kareem ain't as dinosaurish as I thought he was, right? Especially for that time, finesse, finger roll, hook shot, he had a soft, for a hook shot, you have to have a soft touch. So you have to really think that for someone that athletic to have such a soft touch, you have to put him in the Jokic type of touch. Like you're talking about a guy whose ability was athleticism, and he had to take all of that and put it into a hook, a finger roll, a soft touch. It's really hard to judge them old fuckers. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna
right.
Shaq will fuck all you up. You know what I mean? That's all I can either with Shaq will fuck all you up.
But you know what I said yesterday? This is what I said about Shaq. I said you're gonna have anomalies in NBA history where somebody has a physical attribute that's kind of like God-given that just kind of usurps everything else.
Yep.
And I think with Shaq, his physicality and God-given ability, just this size, something you can't, like I was telling people, you can't go into the offseason and train to be Shaq. Shaq is just Shaq because it's God-given. Like, so I said, Shaq is the absolute anomaly in all of this. We probably will never see Shaq again. I think the closest thing we might kind of see is like a Zion, and he's just injury riddled right now. So it's probably rare. We won't ever see that again. So I say, let's run to the norm. And so I think you were a good example because when you were on during your interview a month ago, you talked about how every summer you went into the off season and you focused on adding to your game. what obviously adding to your game is becoming a more versatile player. And they were trying to discredit being versatile. Why do you think elite level scorers to stay elite have to continue to add to their game? Why is being versatile the king in the NBA is when you want to be elite?
Because great defensive players and great teams will stop your main thing, right? So if they're stopping your main thing, you need something else. So when you're trying to be the best, but just take Jordan, right? Jordan's his known move is the fadeaway.
Mm-hmm.
Not the acrobatic moves towards the layup, not the dunking on everybody. It's the fadeaway. And he gained that in 91 when he was still explosive. So he didn't wait to slow down before he added that move. He just added that Dwayne Wade with the bank shot. When he came back one season, now he had this little mid-range bank. Then he added the pump fake with it. Like, you can't wait till your body starts slowing down for you to try to add something. You need to add it now, so when you start slowing down, no one notices. Like LeBron, he added all these extra things to his game, even though they're minute. It helps him today. If he waited till today to start working on the sidestep 3-pointer and all these other things, it would have been harder for him. Like Westbrook, right? Once his body starts slowing down a little bit, he's never added nothing else. And you go from triple-double to looking like, man, why do we want this guy on our team?
100%.
Exactly. But it's not a knock. It's just the truth of basketball. Like, and that's what I said. This is what separates good scores from elite scores. Like Jimmy Butler is a good scorer.
He's a good scorer.
But what happened was, and we saw this in a crucial moment against Denver in that last game when he drove. I don't know if he had it in his bag to find a way to score over how when they made him pick up his dribble. Remember, his move is to the up fake and try to get the shot over you if you can get you to bite. If you don't bite, I don't know if he has enough in his bag to counter that offensively. And so this is why we don't look at Jimmy as one of the best scorers in the game. He's not a better scorer than Tatum, even a guy like Jaylen Brown, I don't believe, because I just don't think he has the versatility of those guys. And it starts to show when you get to crunch time. But yeah, they were saying yesterday, we were talking about what makes a great score, and they were really relying on numbers and points per game.
It can all listen. It's all. You have to have a criteria when you're doing this because some guys are really unstoppable, and the coach stops them. The rest of the team stops them because they're in the team system. So it's really you have to put rules in. Are we talking about scoring? Are we talking about just a shooter? I mean, it's really the overall package, meaning 5 levels of scoring, which is the layup, the post up, the mid-range, the ISO game, and the 3, right? That becomes a 5-level score, which is there's not a lot of those in history, right? So you have to really put rules in, because if you don't put rules in, then you're just arguing for no damn reason.
That's why I tried to come up with some type of criteria. I said, if I go to ChatGPT and tell it to create criteria, well, what is the makeup of an elite level score? I said, at least that criteria is not biased out of my brain. It's something that comes from a completely separate, entity based on information collected from the internet, and we can use that criteria to determine it. That's why I was using the list that ChatGPT gave me. And I know it's not perfect, just like Tyson was saying, but I don't know if any list or criteria is going to be perfect.
No. What's funny is the number 1 and 2 scores in NBA history are not considered scores. That's the funny thing about it. Even for us, like when we're making arguments, no one puts Kareem or LeBron as the best scorers in the league, and they hold number 1 and 2. And that's just it's the ability with who makes it look easier, I guess. Right? Who makes it look easier. So you're talking about the Kevin Durant, the Tracy McGrady's, the Melos, Jordan, Kobe, Allen Iverson.
Allen Iverson?
It's gonna always be, but it's
Allen Iverson was an elite scorer. Yes, he was definitely.
Yeah, you're gonna knock Allen Iverson for his shooting percentage, right? Which has no merit to us.
Exactly.
Because one person is playing against 5 players, right? Right. He's going against 5. It's like when Kobe averaged 35 and he got, Smoosh Parker and all. No one's paying attention to his percentage at that point because we know you're playing against 5 people. So
I agreed.
So we look at stuff like that. Now, when you talked about
go ahead.
anomalies of Shaquille O'Neal, right? The problem with them, though, is Shaquille's supposed to have been the best player ever. Vince Carter should have been better than Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about God gifted these men with an ability you can't teach.
100%.
And they didn't have the work ethic or the passion to be the greatest ever. Listen, Shaq is still going to be top 3 in everyone's list, but he shouldn't be top 3. He should be him. He should be him. He should have been doing what fucking Wilt did back in the fucking 60s. No one was stopping Shaq. He stopped himself. That's why Kobe had a problem with him. Like, you're fucking just lazy and fat. You're just lazy and fat. I got a fat ball.
So true. Yeah, that's facts.
And then same thing with Vince, right? The things Vince does naturally, that shit is scary. But he didn't have the heart. He didn't have that passion to say, I'm gonna go out there and give you 40 every night. No one was gonna stop Vince. Jumped higher, faster, stronger, more acrobatic. I mean, his fadeaway. I mean, the only person who can probably block that would be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar if he was sticking him. That's how his fadeaway. He'll fade away at the mid post and end up at the 3-point line.
Right.
But he didn't have the Kobe heart.
Well, that's my point. So at some point, with players with all these, especially today's player, all of them got great skills, right? All of them can dribble between the leg, give you the hezzy, give you the step back, go to the bucket, give you the jelly, give you everything. But now we have to get into production, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's all I'm saying. Like, we can go off skill set and versatility, but at the end of the day, we need something to quantify your skill set, what you bring to the table. And that's why we're going to go to production. That's why we're going to go to field goal percentage. You can give us all these moves, but how often are you knocking it down? How often are you finishing those moves? How often, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we got to bring production into it. And versatility is great, but if you can't produce, then what are we doing?
I think the better one is proficiency, man.
You don't have to bring.
Let me let Hoop jump in. Go ahead, Hoop.
Yeah, real quick. I want to say I'm glad Gil came and said he basically crystallized what I was talking about last night. He said, you don't let the tracks down, the train gonna go all over the place. And so, and the tracks is a criteria. So that's why I was saying, like, yesterday was a good debate, but it was all over the goddamn place. And it's like, you're never going to get nowhere. So it's good you lay them down. So I'm glad how you started this show. So now we can actually cut through some stuff. I mean, you may not like the results. And that's why it's a good thing, too. You were saying don't go to the end result to try to get a result because you're just going to start picking numbers at that point. And what we talked about, too, is like some people, again, casuals may not like the way we are sifting through it. But I'm glad Gil came in, like we were saying, with the basketball mind, like, okay, I get why you say that, but hoopers know how hoopers feel when you guard them. And so that has to weigh, some people say, oh, that's hard to quantify, but there's a way you can put it in there. It just takes nuance. And so I'm glad we get into we cutting the goddamn mustard on this one. So this is a good conversation going forward.
Yeah, it's okay. So when we're arguing, okay, so let's say like no one's afraid of LeBron, but he has 38,000 points, right? It's what it is. It's your ability. It's your ability in how you score. It's how you score that makes someone afraid of you. Does that 20 seem like 40?
Bingo.
Does that 40 seem like 80? It's that type of person. So if you ask who's a better scorer, Kyrie or Curry, naturally all NBA players will say Kyrie. Right? even though he's never done nothing Curry has done, right? And you would have to make us sit there and think about how Curry scores. But if we naturally just came off the top, we'd be like, okay, Kyrie scores, he's a better scorer. When naturally, when you break Curry's game down, he's technically the better overall scorer. But we think about how Kyrie shifts and changes direction, and it's easy for him to get his shot off. But Curry with the layup package, the moves, the pump fakes, the backdoor, and the moving without the ball, he becomes the better scorer. But you would have to give us time to think about it, because if we don't think about it, we're thinking, okay, Kyrie, when Kyrie's just trying to score, he seems more efficient. You know, so we fight, man. We've went to blows on debates that had nothing to do with us personally.
All right. Who would scare you more? Who would be a tougher guard for you in your career if you hypothetically Kyrie or Curry?
Curry, because you have to really be mentally and physically in shape to play against him.
Right.
Because he's more dangerous without the ball. So it's like
Bingo.
when he has the ball, it's like guarding Kyrie. When he doesn't have the ball, it's like guarding Rip Hamilton and Reggie Miller. So it's one of those things where you're fucked. Kyrie, you're gonna be on SportsCenter the whole night.
Right.
What do you value? What do you value? And this is really how we play the game. I know, like, sometimes you hear like NBA players name some players, and you're like, who the fuck is that? They're like, no, dude was like a dude named Flip Murray. You'd be like, yo,
Ron Murray.
Ron Flip, man. God damn, bro. I'm glad he didn't get the he was supposed to.
Right.
You know, so you have like the Jamal Crawfords.
I mentioned him yesterday.
Yeah,
Bernard.
But you know, sometimes it's mental too, right?
Nice.
The guy who can mentally hold his greatness longer is a real thing.
Consistency, right?
So some people are mentally not capable of being that guy, and you don't factor that into it. Like there's guys that they seem like number one options, but they are literally 2 and 3.
And that's crazy, because a lot of the things you saying was on the list that ChatGPT generated. That mentality. The list basically said confidence and mental toughness. And remember, I forgot who it was. Somebody was talking about D'Angelo Russell and his struggles against the Denver Nuggets. What did he do when he started struggling? He stopped shooting.
Yep.
So he's gonna, when you talk about his ability to be elite level scorer, he may never be an elite. He'd be a good scorer. He may never be an elite level scorer in the NBA because he lacks the mental toughness to do that.
Yeah,
dealing with missing a ton of shots and continuing to shoot. That's hard to do too.
It's hard. It is, but at the end of the day, you know, I tell my kids this: you're not gonna make them all. You're not gonna miss them all. So what the fuck are we talking about here? Go out there, and if you practice it, shoot it. Like, so my son would tell me, yo, I had a bad game, and I was like, let's look at the film. He had missed a shot, and I'm like, that's a good shot. So, you know, that's like 2 points. Okay, ooh, that rimmed in. That could have been 2 points. That was a goaltend. That could have been 2 points. So instead of having 20, you really had 29. Now, do you have a better game? He'd be like, yeah. I said, that's how you're supposed to look at the game. As long as you're taking the shots that you practice, right? Those are considered good shots. It might not fall every night. You're going to make shots you didn't supposed to make. You're going to miss shots you didn't supposed to miss. You're going to make dunks that you didn't think you're going to make. You're going to miss wide open dunks. You can't factor in none of that shit. It's who's the most consistent. Like, you got to have short-term memory loss when you're playing a sport.
Kind of delusional. I've always said that shooters kind of got to be a little delusional.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like because you can go through some slumps. Like, I'll be in the gym shooting sometimes, and I go through a slump, and I'm talking about it'll feel beautiful coming off my hand. It'll hit back rim, and it starts to be mental. Like, you miss 4 or 5 in a row, and you know you're not, like, you have to kind of be delusional. You have to be able to forget missing 10 in a row, because you might need to make the 11 to win the game. Like, that's what Kobe's not Kobe if he's not kind of delusional. And his shot, his ability, like Gils, same way. All of the elite scorers were delusional. Took shot like Steph Curry is not Steph if he's not delusional enough to take them crazy threes, but with confidence, knowing that I practiced this. I seen him go in and practice, so I'm about to shoot these because I literally watched a million of them go in and practice. They're going to start falling in game. And so people can hate on it. They do not like the style and whatnot. But again, it's the mental toughness is a big deal when it comes to being an elite level scorer. It's not anybody can't just get thrown into that category. And that's what I think Carmelo had. I feel like Carmelo was, when you call him a black hole, okay, well, there's really not too many other options on that Knicks team to throw the ball to. So yeah, he's going to be a black hole. Right?
And that's when you have players like that, man. Like if you want to judge Melo, judge him from USA Basketball, right? The reason you do that is he has the best players around him, and now he has to change his game. Now you see how more efficient he is because he can't get the bounce, dribble. He has to just get to the bucket. That's why he led them in scoring every year because he's just getting to it. He don't have the luxury to fuck around anymore and do the PA style. So if you really want to see his capability, watch him in that atmosphere when he has all these other players around him.
That's a nice point right there.
My question to Gil and to the rest of the panels. So salute. Is it possible for a 3-level score, post game, mid range, and at the basket, to be better than a 5-dimensional scorer who has everything? Because I think we kind of got in the argument as far as production and efficiency. Is it possible for a 3-level score to be better than a 5-level score if the production is there by the 3-level?
Yes, because you're going to have to put some type of rules on that too, because obviously the person who can shoot more threes is going to have more points in a sense. Their free throw percentage is going to be down more. If we're talking about like a young Dirt, a Tim Duncan, that Karl Malone type. Who else even someone like Giannis, right? They're not the 5-level scorer, but they're very efficient at what they're doing. So this is more like a big man versus a guard, which is one of those things that it's just an argument.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? It's just an argument. Of course, the guard will have more abilities to score because he's a guard, so he's gonna have the three, he's gonna have his pull up. And now if you're talking about someone like me, I posted up little guard, so that gives me that realm. So I'll become a 5-level scorer just because I'm a guard. Now you have one like Jokic, who's a 5-level scorer as a big, post up, ISO, layup, shit. He got the little floater. You know what I mean? So
yeah, because
I believe most guys in the NBA and just basketball in general. Not a lot of people gonna like this either. But most of the people in the NBA that are strictly just looking at their end result values that determine how successful they are, most of those guys are just role players. Role players are the guys that are targeting, to me, target production. I need you to rebounding. You be my best rebounder, 3-and-D type guys. Give them a role, you fulfill that role, and you can see how well you fulfill that role based on your production, maybe. But I don't know if we can really judge when we talk about the best of the best. I think it's hard to literally judge them on efficiency and all these weird numbers, because that's why I say if we start using these numbers, we're gonna be knocking guys like Kobe down the list, and it's just like I don't know how accurate that is when I got to start looking at efficiency, bumping Kobe down. And just like y'all said, Kobe and Shaq were on the same team. Shaq was the best player. Kobe was the best scorer. I don't know how you argue that. Shaq might have argued more points. He might have had all the efficiency. Kobe is the best scorer. I don't know how you slice it. I mean, to me, it's just that simple. I think we overcomplicate.
Shaq didn't have them. But Shaq didn't have the most points. Kobe averaged more points in the playoffs. Shaq was averaging more points.
But I'm talking about regular season. We know regular season, even in some of the finals, Shaq was the king in points. He's getting the points and efficiency.
But could your
Kobe was always the better scorer. Kobe was always the better scorer. Could your bag
in the post be just so dynamic that it could be better than a 4 or 5 level scorer?
If you're talking about, okay, so like if you're saying, okay, I'm gonna have Shaq, but I'm gonna give him also Dream, you know, his skills, his footwork. Now
it's over. It's over.
Now you're talking about a whole different type of big man, and just that ability alone kind of puts him in a whole different category.
Yeah, definitely.
Salute, fellas. I actually have a question. I just want to stay on the topic of the Kyrie versus Steph thing in terms of the dynamic and the scoring. So, like, the reason why, I understand the concept of the off ball, but wouldn't you say that's more predicated due to the addition of having high IQ players to kind of recognize his his movement around the court, his spatial awareness to get him the ball in certain spots? And also, like, his off ball would kind of fall more into not himself creating for himself, but more so it can have more of an impact onto his teammates, right? Getting Looney those free dives, getting Draymond Green those free dives. So to me, I would value, if we're just talking about simply scoring, for Kyrie, getting it in the post, getting it off, finishing at the rim. But I equate the degree of difficulty that Kyrie has at finishing in the rim, left hand, right hand, through contact, up and under. You know what I mean? The variety of it versus Steph, he built his, although he does have a good finishing game, but it was kind of built. And he was able to kind of have the what's the word I'm looking for? Like, he had the way that I look at it is like Kyrie was able to, he puts more pressure by himself as a scorer. His layered scoring puts more pressure versus Steph. Although Steph, I understand, is more impactful, the off ball is more impactful. However, singularly, if we're just looking at scoring for yourself, self-creation, I would value Kyrie getting it in the post, his layered style of scoring. That's why I would kind of give some pushback to that, because I think Steph can't post up the same way that Kyrie can post up and draw necessary fouls in the post. You know what I mean? What do you think about that, man?
Yeah, but if you give Kyrie the post, he's not going to have something Steph has, right? You know, it's a give and take. When it comes to IQ, they both have very high IQ. They just use it different. That's all. When you're talking about Kyrie's IQ, it's he's looking at feet, body movement. He's like, to be at this level, you have to process the game fast.
Yes.
Right. When you're talking about moving through the lane, his speed is coming. I got to stop here. I got to spin here. I got to come here late. Is he on his back foot? Is he on his front foot? He block. I mean, all of that is being processed that
immediately.
Same thing with Steph. When he's coming in and he can see this guy coming to, throw it here to go and get it back because this guy relaxed. They're just using it different. Their scoring ability is just processed different. Like, if you give them both 100 at scoring, they're putting their 100 in just different
places. However, but don't you just to give pushback on that? Don't you? Wouldn't you say that Draymond setting screens? Like, that's why I wanted to ask about that. Like, how much do you equate like having a guy like Klay Thompson on stretching the other side of the court for you? Like, for example, if you put Andre Roberson in Klay's spot, is Steph as effective? Doesn't his scoring impact take a hit because the spacing on the floor is a little bit different? You know what I mean? Like, although he carries some gravity as well, but Klay also carries similar gravity, or not the similar gravity, but to the same extent in that scheme of offense, he can pull the same type of gravity that Klay will put off the ball. So that's why I kind of look at Steph's off the ball with an asterisk, because I feel like he's kind of supplemented by his offense, having quality teammates, having high IQ teammates. It's the same thing with Jokic. Like, if he doesn't have those IQ plays to make those certain cuts and understand his game, then he doesn't look as effective. You get what I mean?
But that's his IQ of teaching them how to think and how to move. So even if you put a whole bunch of non-shooters with Steph, he's going to use them as bricks. You're going to use all these fucking screeners, and I'm just going to run through this motherfucker all day.
Keep going through the screens. Okay,
right?
Fair enough.
What gives Kyrie his thing is he's a one-on-one player.
Okay.
That's a whole different conversation, right? Okay. It's what really is the knock between LeBron versus Jordan and Kobe. Two of them are one-on-one players. One is a team player. right? So one is 5-on-5, and his greatness comes in that he's the basketball player, right? He's a basketball player. Jokic is a basketball player. Then you have guys who can create their own. So we don't give the same value to someone who can get it his own.
Okay.
So Kyrie says, I don't need all those screens. I can just break you down myself. That's his one-on-one ability.
Right.
Oh, but hey, I got to hit the airport though.
All right, man.
Yes, sir.
I wish I knew how to access my phone, man.
Hey, I'm gonna be checking out that tournament, man. I'm gonna tap in.
Okay, bet.
I want to see how they do, but I appreciate you pulling up, man. That was perfect timing too.
Facts,
no problem. All right,
but I'll tap in with you. All right, man. Hey, they see now. This is now. This changes the dynamics of the conversation.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Because I've had NBA players on the channel, other guys. This is the uniqueness of this one is we are dealing with a guy who came in the league as his second round pick. Not much expectation. And we watched him develop into one of the best scorers in the game, in one of the toughest defensive eras of all time, to the tune of scoring 60 on Kobe Bryant. We just had him in here. And he was mirroring a lot of the points that I was saying yesterday. Now, like I said, so again, I'm gonna let y'all dissect it how y'all want, because it sounded like y'all was doing a lot of listening, not a lot of pushback.
Can I go first?
I'm like y'all doing a lot of listening, not pushing back.
We're gonna give him his respect. The
question Hey, come on, guys. Let me speak, man. Let me speak.
Gil, come on.
Hey, Lamont, let me speak, my brother. I've been silent for the majority of the time.
Y'all think Gil can't handle no pushback? Y'all could have went at him.
I was gonna have a chance to talk, man. I was being patient, bro. Damn. But I'll say this though too. I will say this though too. I do agree with what Gilbert is saying about just having bad shooting nights, because you got to have a pit bull mentality to keep on shooting. Listen, the point here is that when you practice the shots you practice, the expectation is that the shots you take in a game are gonna go in most of the time. But there are going to be nights where you're not going to be able to hit those shots. The question is, are you going to have the courage to step up and take that next jump shot to win the game? That's the big difference here. And I think a lot of times fans get caught off about the bad shooting nights, or man, you just choke because you couldn't make that. Listen, these guys practice those shots all the time. They're just nights that they won't be able to make it. But the difference is the mentality and the demeanor of the player to have the courage to take that next shot to possibly win the game or keep his team in the game. That's the big difference. And I definitely agree with Arena's assessment there too. So, but I like his insight though. But go ahead, Lamont.
My main approach, just like what Gil said, is in value numbers, just like Hoop Jargon says. It's hard to, when we're talking about superstar level players, because generally the elite level scorers are up there, top players in the league. It's hard to judge them on in value production numbers, because their in value production numbers not out, because like Gil just said, they got to go 1-on-5 sometimes. They're getting guarded by an entire team. Their in value numbers aren't going to always look the same.
Well,
and so
go ahead.
It's hard to judge them on that. It's hard to judge.
Because I think of it like in terms of like my fault, bro. I just want to say this. I look at it like more so like they have kind of like more offensive responsibility on their plate, right? Like Kobe's offensive responsibility, especially during those dog years, is extremely, like, you know what I mean? It's going to be extremely loaded. So to try to nitpick and say, all right, that shot was a bad shot. That shot was a bad shot. Like, and another thing too, like these guys practice with each other and they see these guys' work habits. You know what I mean? They see them shooting certain shots and then they're like, yo, if you didn't practice that shot, I'm not going to give it to you in the game and let you shoot that shot. Like, we got to win.
But context matters. So we know yesterday that when we were having that discussion about Carmelo Anthony, the guy that was saying you're trying to use that Carmelo had bad shot selection, he was only just trying to say that to denigrate Carmelo, because we can really apply bad shot selection to Jordan. We can apply it to Kobe. We can apply it to T-Mac. We can apply it to all of the greats. All of the greats take tough shots, make tough shots. They take a ton of shots that we consider bad shots. So for you to just try to use that as one of the reasons why you want to say, oh, I can't say Carmelo is one of the best scorers of all time. That's ridiculous. Even with Gilbert Arenas, like Steph Curry, these guys take shots. Even Dame Lillard, they take shots that most basketball players. What did Paul George say about Dame Lillard's game-winning shot?
Oh, yes,
that's a bad shot, and he's not lying.
Yeah,
but the thing is,
that's Dame's shot diet.
When you practice those, like for 99% of basketball players, that is a bad shot. For the elite level scores, it's not. That's one of the bigger differences right there. We got Cliff Notes with the Hoop Jargon logo, man.
The question that I asked was a 3
Hoop Jargon, is that you?
Man, dude, right
my phone tripping, man.
Dude right here stealing logo.
Oh, that's crazy.
No, he's not. That's Hoop Jargon. That's Hoop Jargon. He came in with it.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say.
I would still put Kareem. I would still put Kareem and Will Chamberlain up there as great scorers. Because
I didn't say they weren't, though. I have them up there as great scorers. I just don't have them over Jordans or the Kobe's and guys like that.
The reason I would is because even when I asked Gil, is it possible for a guy to have a bag in the post game as a 3-level scorer? Could he be better than a 5-level scorer? And I believe when you talk about Will Chamberlain and Kareem, they had it wasn't just a hook shot, bro. They had a bag in the post, running hooks, footwork,
up and under
turnaround jumpers. They used the bank, they used the glass. So I think a guy who's a 3-level scorer who just has a bag in the post not only can be better than a 5-level scorer, but the production after that and efficiency has to come into play.
But I think with big men, though, see, this is one of the things about big men. A lot of the things that make big men all-time great big men, because we know that they get a lot of easier buckets at the rim and they have a higher efficiency, the things that starts to separate the big men is everything else that you do. Your ability to defend, rebound, if you can space the floor, if you can maybe add a level of playmaking to it to be different from all the other big men. Those are the big men to me. Or if you have some type of physical dominance, those are the big men that kind of separate themselves from all the other big men. So I think we judge big men not just purely on scoring because they get easier buckets. They score in a different way.
Right.
So it's hard to put the big men in a category with scorers when they, especially of the past, like Gil mentioned, when they were mostly just back to the basket bigs scoring layups at the rim. And if it's hard for me, like how can you say, can you honestly say Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was a better scorer than Larry Bird?
No, you can't.
No, I can't do that.
You can't do that.
But was Kareem a better player than Larry Bird?
Yes, that you can say.
That's the difference right there. Because when we think about Kareem, it's more than just his scoring.
Right.
And with Larry Bird, he could be more dynamic because he had to operate on the perimeter. He had a better ball handle. He could get his shot off in different ways. Right. And he had a lot of things he can impress you with offensively where you can see his full bag. And this is what's so impressive about Jokic, because we've never seen a team give the center the ball and say, you bring it up the court, you facilitate. Now Jokic is changing what we think of centers because now he's doing what we normally see the perimeter guys do, and he's doing it at an elite level as a center. And that's why we're going to start calling him a great scorer. Because
hold on, Lamont. Do you consider? I know he played a center at some time, but do you consider Draymond Green as a center, or you just be like a perimeter player just playing the center position?
I got Draymond Green as a power forward.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Now, when we measure scores, like let's say, KD's the 5-level scorer, right? Okay, Paul George is a 5-level scorer as well. What separates them is KD's production and KD's efficiency. Like Paul George can shoot a 3, he can get a bucket, he has a post game, mid range, get to the cup. When you measure 5-level scores versus 5-level scores,
I don't know if he has a post game. Paul George.
Who? Paul George? He has a post game.
No.
And look, and you know what they do? They are similar. the problem is even without going to end result numbers, KD's better. KD's a better shooter. He's a better 3-point shooter. He's a better mid-range shooter. He's a better post-up player. He's just better without going to numbers. He's just better at all of those things than Paul George. And he has better confidence and mental toughness, which is one of the key elements, like what Gil was talking about, the key elements of an elite level score. What have we seen from Paul George when it comes time to have confidence and mental toughness? That's where Paul George
I'm
waned.
not putting Paul George.
That's a fact.
My point is,
without running the numbers, we can just look to intangibles
I'm not saying
like
that.
where
My point is
of a KD.
if you can have 2 5-level scorers, the obvious reason you tell who's a better scorer is obviously what you said, the skill set and who's better at the 5 levels and production and efficiency. Now, when I go to a 3-level score versus a 5-level score,
bro, you keep talking about these levels, bro. Keep it simple, man.
Because you don't have Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem in your top 10 scores.
But KD is not a 5-level scorer, though. I don't know why y'all keep saying that.
No, but that's just for the sake of his argument. We're comparing. So, like I said, this is we're going to use the Chat GPT recommendation since Tyson couldn't give us a new question to ask Chat GPT to create a new list. So, look, I'm going to ask you, MacDef. I'm going to ask you. We'll start with shooting skills. As an elite scorer, proficient from the mid-range, various distances, angles, mid-range 3-point free throws, smooth shooting form, quick release, high shooting percentage. Who has better shooting skills, Paul George or Kevin Durant?
Kevin Durant.
So we don't need numbers to tell us that. So we'll go to the next one.
Hold on. Let's battle between Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem versus KD.
We'll get to that. Let's go to the next one. Shot creation, elite scores, ability to create their own shot,
KD.
Use dribble moves, crossover, step backs, fadeaways, techniques to get separation. Okay, KD's best. 2-0 KD. Offensive versatility.
KD.
Okay. Basketball IQ.
KD.
Footwork.
KD.
Confidence and mental toughness.
KD.
Physical attributes.
Paul George, but yeah.
KD is a 7-foot shooting guard. What are you talking about?
He's not physical. We've seen that in the ball.
Physical attributes. Height is a physical attribute. 7 foot as a shooting guard.
Well, he does create a disadvantage just off the height alone. I get what you mean.
Paul George is 6'8", 6'9". Like we're not.
Okay.
I'm not.
Let's just give Paul George that 1 point.
You can have that. I'm not.
He's desperate to give Paul George a point, so we'll give him Paul. Let's go to work ethic. We'll go to work ethic. Work ethic. Elite scorers dedicate countless hours to refine their gaming skills.
KD.
Relentless. KD. Okay, so KD won 7 of the available 8 points
I'm
there,
not
according to this criteria.
Paul George is a better scorer than
But you
KD.
said we can make the case. According to you answering these questions, there is no case for Paul George. It's not close.
Come on, bro. Stop putting words in my mouth.
And we didn't have to look to
I said they're both
production.
5-level.
He said they were both 5-level scores.
No, what he said was, this is what he said. He said they're both 5-level scores, and we have to look to production to see who's better. No, you don't.
Right.
We went off this criteria, and it's by far not even close that KD's better, and we didn't have to talk about a single stat.
No, that was
So
not.
hold on.
That was
So
not my point.
GPT is this what measures production?
No. So Chat GPT is so what I did was you can ask Chat. We can ask Chat GPT anything. So what I asked Chat GPT is this. I said, what are the best attributes of an elite scorer in basketball? Okay. And this is what so Chat GPT came up with 8 attributes that make up an elite level score. And the reason why I use Chat GPT, because I said if I create the criteria, it could potentially be biased.
Lamont, a 3-level score can be better than a 5-level score.
Hold on. But what I'm saying is a 3-level score, yes, can be a better player than a 5-level score.
No, a better scorer.
Okay.
Now read the list.
Okay, so give me a 3-level score. Give me a 3-level score that you think is better than a 5-level score in my top 10.
Kareem versus Carmelo Anthony. Let's go.
Okay, so we'll go. Okay, so we'll go here. So
that's pretty good.
We'll go number. Okay, we'll go. We're not. Remember, we don't have to go in value production. Shooting skills. As an elite scorer, shooting ability, mid-range 3-pointer, free throws. Who's the better shooter?
Carmelo.
Okay, 1-0 Carmelo. Shot creation. Elite scorers have the ability to create their own shots, use dribble moves, crossover, step back, fadeaways.
Carmelo.
2-0 Carmelo.
Hold on.
Yeah, there's Melo. He's definitely Melo.
That's Melo, man. That ain't no hold on, bro. That's Melo. Go ahead to the next.
Time out.
Lamont, go to the next one. That's Melo.
You're talking out, bro. You can't talk
Can I stop getting cut off? Can I stop getting cut off?
Next.
Can I
Next.
stop getting cut off?
Yeah.
Next.
Would Carmelo? Hold on. Does Carmelo have a step back jumper? Just a crossover.
What the hell is you talking about?
Carmelo has one of the
That
best
jumper.
mid-range
What is you
games.
talking about? Next. Next. Come on. Next. Next. What is he talking about? We don't have a step back pull up. What is you talking about? Next. Next.
Okay, hold on. We'll go to the next one. Hold on.
No, we're not.
MacDev.
Next.
Okay.
No, I'm
Hold on,
asking a
MacDev.
question.
Okay, MacDev. Offensive versatility. A top scorer is not limited to one particular style of scoring. They can score different ways.
Melo.
Dribble, catch and shoot, posting up, driving to the basket, finishing at the rim. This versatility makes it difficult for defenders to predict and stop their scoring attempts. Who has better offensive versatility, Carmelo or Kareem?
That's Melo. Offensive versatility.
Okay, so it's 3-0. So right now it's 3-0
Shot
Melo.
creation. Shot creation.
Man, Mac, get off of that, bro. You went to a step back jumper.
Mingle Jester, shut
We
up.
talking about Kareem, dude.
Mingle Jester, shut up. Now,
Nigga, you shut up. You silly, that's stupid. What you talking about?
Answer my question, and since you want to run your mouth, who is a better post player?
No, MacDev. Tell us why.
Okay, then shut up. Then
MacDev, if you don't believe,
hold on.
MacDev,
Okay,
if you don't believe Melo, if you don't believe Melo's a better shot creator than Kareem, then just please explain us, enlighten us as to why you think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is a better shot creator than Carmelo Anthony.
In the post, he had the entire bag, and that was better than Carmelo Anthony.
Oh no!
He had a turnaround. Hold on, can I finish? He had a turnaround.
Lamont, go back to that second one and read all that over again. Go back to the second one and read that whole thing over again.
Cut me off.
No, it says elite scorers have the ability to create their own shot. They can effectively use dribble moves, crossovers, step backs, fadeaways, and other techniques to create separation from defenders to get their shot off. Who has better shot creation?
Not Melo. Not Melo,
bro. Can I ask you a question?
Like, bro.
FYL.
Yo, what up?
Wow.
Again,
based off this chat GBT, wouldn't Kyrie be a better scorer than Steph Curry based off the criteria?
Man.
Yeah,
based off the criteria.
You know what?
That's why I'm trying to get
Melo's not a better shot creator than freaking.
So when I broke it down, the reason why when I broke it down and I had Steph Curry as number 10 on my list over a guy like Kyrie is because I think for me, I feel like even though it's comparable, I feel like when you get to number 4, I feel like Steph Curry edged out Kyrie at number 4 with basketball IQ. I feel like he edged out Kyrie in confidence and mental toughness, right? And then I feel like he edged Kyrie out in physical attributes because
all that goes to Kareem over Melo.
So no, hold on. But what I'm saying is, but see, the thing is, we're only at question 3 and Melo's at 3-0. And the thing is, if you can't even be honest about simple things about shot creation,
cut me off.
No,
he doesn't create a better shot. No,
this is dumb.
You guys act like Carmelo Anthony had an amazing handle and can create.
Hold on. Do I need to ask ChatGPT? Hold on, MacDev. So you know what shot creation is. So you know what shot creation is. Should I ask ChatGPT what is shot creation in basketball? So you know what it is.
It says it right there.
No. Let me type it in. What is shot creation in basketball? This is the way you are educated and you know what you're talking about, so you don't say silly stuff like Kareem.
Yo, Lamar's a sicko, yo. He's a sicko.
Okay, hold on. It's give me this. It gave us the answer. It gave us the answer. So, what is shot creation in basketball? Okay. Number one.
This is gonna be bad. Go ahead.
Number 1, dribble moves.
Not Kareem.
Hold on. Yes. What are you talking about?
Number 2. Footwork and body control.
Not Kareem. Go ahead.
Hold on, time. That is footwork. Hold on. Footwork and body control doesn't go to Kareem. Are you serious?
No, it does not, because he only had one move, and that was the sky hook. He didn't have no
did not
footwork.
Just shoot a hook shot. If y'all don't know nothing about a prime peak Kareem in Milwaukee, then just say that.
Hold on.
Man, can I ask you?
Hold on. Let me finish.
You don't know basketball.
Okay,
bro.
Hold on. MacDev. Number 3, offensive instincts. It says a good shot creator possesses strong offensive instincts, reading the defense, recognizing openings, exploiting the defense, keen understanding for spacing, timing, positioning. Okay. You also have creating separation. Shot creators
because
aim
you know
to
that goes.
hold on,
That
McDuff. I'm just so you are educated. Shot creators aim to create separation in order to get clean looks at the basket. This can be achieved through step backs, fadeaways, pull-up jumpers, or using their body to shield defenders by creating space. That's Carmelo in its true essence. But next thing, shot variety. Skilled shot creators have a wide range of scoring options in their arsenal, not just one place on the floor. They are proficient at shooting from different areas of the court, mid-range, three-pointers, floaters, layups, dunks. The ability to score efficiently from multiple positions makes it difficult for defenders to anticipate and stop their shot attempts.
Again, that's mellow.
And then you have.
Can I speak? I'm letting you speak.
Hold on. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
What my whole point of which shot creation is Melo is at his best, at his peak. He is mid-range, one of the greatest mid-range.
Is Carmelo a better shot creator than Kareem?
No. Again, let me finish.
Typing
bro.
it in.
Let me finish. Melo at his peak is one of the greatest mid-range shot creators of all time. He's not better in the mid-range than Kareem. Kareem had a Kareem had a mid-range jump shot. Kareem had a hook shot. Kareem could face up and drive.
So hold on.
Hold on, y'all. I just asked ChatGPT the specific question. I said, is Carmelo Anthony a better shot creator than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? All right. And it says at the end here, the comparison. In terms of shot creation, Carmelo Anthony may be considered more versatile in creating his own shot from different areas of the court, utilizing dribble moves and displaying a wider ranging of scoring techniques. His ability to create separation and score off the dribble is a prominent aspect of his game. He says, however, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's shot creation in the low post and his mastery of the skyhook makes him one of the greatest scorers in NBA history. His ability to score stemmed from his positioning, footwork, and offensive dominance. Ultimately comparing Carmelo Anthony and Kareem in terms of shot creation depends on individual preference, play style, preferences, and the era in which they play, both players. So it didn't really give a clear answer.
It said preference. That's my whole point.
So what's your preference?
Hold on. My preference is that Carmelo, his best attribute was mid-range, and he doesn't come, and he's
That's
not
a lie.
on. Okay, so take Carmelo mid-range mingle gesture. Take Carmelo mid-range game away.
What was Carmelo's best attribute?
Carmelo also had a post-up game. He also could take you to the post and score.
Mid-range.
No, it's not. The mid-range is not the post. What are you talking about?
He was also posting up.
I would say it's face-up game.
Can I ask
the
you
mid-range is not Lamont. So the mid-range is the post?
Oh, hold on.
You don't have to catch the ball in the post in the paint all the time.
I just asked ChatGPT, what is Carmelo Anthony's best basketball attribute? And it said the number one best attribute for Carmelo Anthony possesses a diverse offensive skill set that allows him to score from all areas of the court. He is adept at scoring in isolation, utilizing his size, strength, footwork, and array of offensive moves to create separation and get a shot off. Anthony can score mid-range, at the rim, and has a smooth shooting stroke that extends to the three-point line. So, McDuff, you are wrong there. He can score from anywhere on the floor.
I didn't say
according to
ChatGPT. I didn't say he couldn't. I said his best. I said what he's best
this
at.
Is what
and
it said.
It's funny how when it named the priority, when it named the categories, mid-range was first. So again,
in mid-range, attacking in the rim,
exactly. But mid-range was first. What I said, what he's best at. When I'm saying with him as shot creation versus Kareem, his mid-range shot creation is not better than Kareem. It just said Kareem is one of the greatest.
Give it up, man.
I got a question though, Matt.
No, all right, you keep cutting me off then, bro. Go ahead.
I'm just confused why you use the. Okay, but you saying I'm confused of why you use Kareem and Carmelo as the two examples.
Because a three-level scorer can be better.
Hold on, but wait. When we say 3-level, we mean in the paint, mid-range, and 3-point shooting. Kareem wasn't a 3-point shooter.
No. See,
when
we're talking
when you say 3-level scorer, that's what you think about, right?
No.
So how is Kareem a 3-level score?
Yeah.
Hold on, I was confused from the jump because I'm like that. He's not a 3-point shooter.
Let me answer the question. Gilbert Arenas just got on this podcast 20 minutes ago and said a 5-level scorer can finish at the cup, a post game, a mid range, and whatchamacallit, and 3-point shooting. I forget the fifth one. It was post game,
right? That would be Melo, right?
3-point.
ISO.
Yes, he's a 5. Yes. Now listen, he's a 5-level scorer. I get that. Now, what I am simply saying is his best attribute. You're not going to sit here and tell me that Carmelo is a great 3-point shooter.
I understand what you're saying about that, bro. I understand that. I was confused from the jump.
So his mid-range, post game, and finishing at the cup, he is not better than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Listen,
and not close.
I understand that.
And his 3-point shot doesn't overtake.
Hold on, y'all. Max F. So you said, even though he didn't shoot threes, you said he was a 3-level score. Okay.
That's all I was trying to get to, Lamont, because I'm confused because the example.
Lamont, why are you trying to twist my words?
I got his percentages right here. Hold on. So at the rim, for his career, at the rim, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar shot 72.7% at the rim. In the painted area, for his career, he shot 62.9%. In the mid-range for his career, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar shot 39.6%.
Don't have a mid-range shot.
Come on, bro. Come on.
And this is all I was saying.
So what games were you watching where he was making these mid-ranges, man?
I told you he was capping. I knew he was capping the whole time.
Hold on. Time out. If the man averages 39% shooting from a mid-range, which he didn't operate.
That would be a good 3-point shooter. That's not a good mid-range shooter.
If he operated in the mid-range and took most of his shots in the mid-range, yes, that would be a horrible percentage. But if you're taking less than half of your shots and you got 30,000 points and you're 39%, that's pretty damn good.
That doesn't make any sense.
Hold on. Let me.
So you're trying to make that? Hold on.
I'll give an example. Hold on. Time out.
What Kareem was doing. But this is my thing. How could you claim he's a 3-level scorer if he's not even a mid-range shooter?
I'll give an example. Michael Jordan scored. I'm trying to make it make sense. Michael Jordan scored over 30,000 points, right? He shoots 34%, 35% from the 3-point line. To me,
that's league average in today's game, though. That's league average, though. So
that's not horrible.
Okay. Thank you for proving my point. Now let me finish. If Kareem, because we just said that's not bad, right? 35% from the 3-point line, knowing that he took less than half of his shots from the 3-point line and he still shot 35%. Kareem from the mid-range is shooting 39%. In his entire game, he took less shots from the mid-range. He's got 30,000.
Yeah, but you called him a 3-level score.
But look, Mac, you understand? But Mac, listen, Mac, hold on, Mac. Listen to what you just explained, bro. You said he took majority of his shots from the mid-range. You have
he did not. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay, he took majority of his
most
shots
of his shots from the paint and at the cup.
How is he a 3-level
score? That's what I'm saying. I'm just trying to bring you back to the original point. Like when you gave the 2 examples of a 3-level and a 5-level score, because the way Gilbert broke it down, I never heard of the 5-level score, but I understand it. The post, the ISO, the mid-range, and the 3 and ISO. I understand that now, but growing up, all I heard was 3-level score, and that meant to me in the paint, mid-range, and 3-point shooting. And what I'm saying is Kareem was never considered a 3-point shooter. He didn't take enough threes to be considered a 3-point shooter.
He was never considered a mid-range shooter.
Right.
Correct.
That's why when the examples, when you said 3-level and 5-level, I was surprised.
In this original context, before we got to the 5-level, because that's probably a new term for most people. If we go to what most people are familiar with, which is 3-level, if we go off that formula, Kareem is a 1-level scorer.
Right.
Hold on.
Because he did not excel in the mid-range. He did
And
not
he didn't
excel at
shoot
the three-point
threes.
line,
Right.
but he did excel in the paint and at the rim. That's where
Right.
he did the body
Bro,
bulk of his
I
work.
understand the 3-point line. Duh, I get that.
He shot 39% from the mid-range, MacDuff.
If somebody else
And
says
you
something
just
about
admitted
Kareem in the
he
3-point
barely
line, I'm
takes
going,
those shots.
that's retarded.
So that's a level. You can't include it into that level.
For the simple, because he never shot it, bro.
That's
It's
why
not
that
even the
level doesn't
mid-range.
That's like
exist.
saying
That
Shaq. I
level for
understand.
him.
Hold on.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
According to what Lamont just read us, he's not even a mid-range shooter.
Again, the man has 38,000 points and took
Oh
less
my
of his
goodness.
shot
What does that have
attempts.
to do with anything, bro? You trying to change the
Because what I'm
argument.
hold on. What I'm simply saying, if a man has 38,000 points
Oh
and
my
he
goodness.
take less of his shot attempts from the mid range, but he's still shooting 39%, that is damn good. And my example for that is Michael Jordan. Y'all just said he had a good shooting percentage from the 3-point line. We all know Jordan didn't take that many damn threes. He took less of his shot attempts. The man averaged 23. Jordan averaged 23 shot attempts for his career. 3 of them was from 3-point range.
That actually, Matt, your argument actually kills everything you're saying. Because you shoot less shots and have a worse.
His shot percentage is still good at 34.
No, it's not. No, it's not. If you shooting less, if you shooting
35
less
is not good. Mingle gesture from the 3-point.
No, what I'm saying is, no, I'm talking about with Kareem. If you're shooting less attempts and your field goal percentage is still 39%, that's even worse than if you're shooting more.
Yeah. You don't have the
What are you talking about?
the high
That don't even
volume
make
excuse.
sense.
Right. You don't have the high volume excuse. That's the
That
thing.
don't even make
with
sense.
Melo is taking a healthy diet, a healthy shot profile. His shot profile is larger than Kareem, and he's more, and he hit more of those shots. So Kareem dominating the paint, I understand what you're saying. Maybe he has more impact, offensive impact, because he's dominating in one area, causing more double teams, things of that nature. But to say that he's a 3-level scorer is lying. That would be lying.
I didn't say
Lamont.
Listen, bro. When I say he's a 3-level scorer,
You're gonna have to let this live, man. You might have to just.
Hey Lamont, can you pull up Kareem's and Carmelo's shot charts? You know what I'm saying? Like
because the percentages is going to go.
The percentages is it's not about the percentages though. It's about where the shots was taken. That's
bro. We know Kareem didn't take no fucking 3-pointers.
Okay. If you know that, then like I said, my original point. Why would you use Kareem as an example for a 3-level scorer against a 5-level scorer? That was my whole point.
Because Kareem at his 3 levels dominates Carmelo Anthony.
But what 3 levels are you talking about? That's what we're trying to get you to understand.
Again, the mid range, the
he shot 39% from the mid range. That was below league average. That's far below today.
2 minutes ago that he took less. You just said 2 minutes.
That's far below league average in his time.
Can I finish?
You just said 2 minutes ago he took less shots in the mid range. You just said that.
Hold on, because it's funny how we all of a sudden now go to production and efficiency. Now go to Carmelo Anthony's best attribute. Go to Carmelo's best attribute mid range. Go look at his stats. Okay, look at his percentage.
You want me to pull up Carmelo Anthony's mid range field goal percentage?
That you just did it with Kareem.
All right, hold on.
Because if Carmelo ain't shooting 45% from the mid-range, and that's his best attribute, and Kareem's less attribute is mid-range, and he still got 39, what are we doing?
But that argument is flawed though, because if you take 5 shots from the mid-range and make 2, and I take 30 and I make 15, 17, you shooting a higher percentage than me. But I shot more, like that argument flawed. You can't. That's not. No.
Oh, somebody just jumped in.
That's craziness. Oh man, that's wild.
Y'all got it out there.
It was going on, Lamont.
Anthony's not a better scorer than
what up, NBA QT?
Kareem.
That's just here, man. Hey man, I'm gonna check the playback, but I just wanted to know. I didn't know like who your top 10. I didn't catch the top 10.
My top 10, as far as just scorers, of all time, I had Jordan at 1. Kevin Durant at 2, Kobe at 3, LeBron at 4, James Harden at 5, Jerry West 6, Tracy McGrady 7, Carmelo at 8, Larry Bird at 9, Steph Curry at 10, and then my honorable mention consists of the guys like Hakeem Olajuwon, Allen Iverson, Alex English, Adrian Dantley.
All right, cool. I really just want to know where you had Melo still, but yeah.
Yeah, no, but I think the key to this is when I was really curious to see where Gilbert Arenas would put Melo all time as a scorer. I didn't know what he was going to say because we know he has some crazy takes on basketball, and he said he had Melo a lot higher than me. He said definitely top 7.
Wow,
somewhere in the top 7.
Yeah.
So, and this, but the thing is, this is coming from a guy. This is not coming from like your average everyday. This is a guy who was also considered an elite level scorer in the NBA. So there's a level of credibility there we can kind of take from it, coming from one great scorer to another. He has no reason to favor Carmelo over anybody. They weren't teammates or anything like that. But there is an appreciation for great scores, and there's the ability to recognize great scores without also running to in-value production numbers like points per game or field goal percentages. I think he did a good job of explaining why it's bad to run to those numbers when trying to determine who's the best scorer. I think ChatGPT even said what the makeup of a great score is your ability to create these shots, not necessarily always make them. Just your ability to create an open shot for you or others is a great playmaker. LeBron has created a ton of open shots for his teammates. He don't always get the assist if the motherfuckers missed the open shot. But we still have 2 eyes and we can see he just created that open shot. Right? You see what I'm saying? So I don't want to say he's not a great playmaker because the dude missed the shot. He made a great play. Dude just missed the shot. So, you know.
So that's why I remember. Yo, Lamar, that's why I wanted to add on to remember when Gil was referring to because now he added the 5 level scoring in terms of the off ball. So to me, Steph, it doesn't like his off ball, although it does help him, get his shot off and things like that, but it creates more so for the whole offense. And I think it's hard to split the playmaking aspect and the shot creation aspect that comes from that. You get what I'm saying? Like, for example, like because he's coming off the ball, he's running and coming off the ball. So now, like I said, Looney and Draymond, they get those short rolls, right? But that's not necessarily creating a shot for himself. He's kind of running around to get the other guys open. You get what I mean? So that's why I gave some pushback with Gil in terms of Kyrie having the post and just self-creation, like being a scorer for himself. Like that's what I value a little bit more, where Curry, he's supplemented by his team playing off ball. You get what I mean? Because we watched Steph on ball, like when he scored the 50 against Sacramento. It was a lot of spamming, high pick and roll. He got to the rack here and there, but he never posted up at all. You get what I'm saying? So his value, and when they did the same thing when he went to the Lakers, we saw a completely different player. He had more struggles because he couldn't post up. You know what I mean? He couldn't do the certain things that Kyrie can do on an offensive level. And I think it showed when Steph is on the ball, he's a little bit more limited compared to Kyrie on the ball, compared to their off-ball game. Now, don't get me wrong, Steph unlocks a different animal in the off-ball game, but on ball, I think he's a little bit more limited than Kyrie. So that's why, like when he added the 5 level scoring, I consider Steph's off ball to kind of blend into his playmaking for the team. You get what I mean?
Kyrie's a better shot creator. Curry's more versatile, and Carmelo shoots 42% from mid-range.
But remember, if we're going to compare the two, that's why I say, as opposed to running in one category, ChatGPT gave us 8 levels of criteria to use, and we can use all of those because, like I said, the one aspect that kind of throws a monkey wrench into all that stuff is the mental toughness and the confidence. And that's what starts to separate guys. That's what starts to separate. Like when you talk about a guy like Paul Pierce, right? His mental toughness and confidence, especially late game, was elite. We might forget now, but the man could make shots, tough shots. His mental toughness was up there. I mean, he could arguably be in this conversation if you don't want to forget about players like that. So, I mean, it's a lot of guys that got a case.
Lamar, I got another one. What about Carter versus Pierce? Who would you say is a better scorer out of those?
Wait, who again?
Vince Carter, Paul Pierce.
I would say Paul Pierce is a better scorer.
All right, no doubt.
I believe he's a better shot creator. He has a better shot. I think he has better mental toughness and confidence. Late game things. maybe a slight edge on work ethic. I mean, I think that might have been Vince Carter's biggest downfall. When you go to offensive versatility, I got to give that to Paul Pierce as well. So again, that's like according to that list, if we follow that criteria, I feel like Paul Pierce wins out in more categories. I think as far as physical gifts, definitely Vince Carter gets the edge there. The man
but you say Pierce is more versatile too?
Offensive versatility, I give that to Paul Pierce, yeah.
Ooh, that's the only thing I'd probably give because Carter,
and then we have to go back and you would have to go over what it said offensive versatility actually was. And when we go back to what they said, so look, I'll tell you what it said offensive versatility actually was.
All right.
Because when you know exactly what they mean by that, it could change your perspective. It says offensive versatility is a score. It says a top scorer is not limited to one particular style of scoring. They can score in different ways, including off the dribble, catch and shoot, posting up, driving to the basket, finishing at the rim. I think when we look at it in that aspect, Paul Pierce was probably a better catch and shoot player. He was, I believe he might have been better at working off the dribble. I think Vince might have beat him with driving to the basket and finishing at the rim. But when you think about multiple ways of scoring, I mean, just think of it, use the 3-level scoring narrative. Paul Pierce was just better at all 3 levels than Vince Carter. Better mid-range, better 3-point shooter, and they were probably equal at the rim. We're maybe giving a slight edge at the rim to Vince Carter. So, I mean, it's tough. It's tough we be having hard conversations because you don't want to bump down guys that we like, but when you
Lamont, I feel like we might be a little recent, like we might be showing a little recency bias when we have players like Carmelo Anthony and T-Mac out there because we kind of seen them play. But like, what would separate them from a player like Bob McAdoo or somebody who could 3-level players too, great scorers, MVPs as well? Why wouldn't he be considered a top 10 scorer?
I mean, we would just have to right? Again. We can only compare the players that we know. I mean, if I don't know, I'm not gonna fake like and throw them in there and fake like I do know. You know what I'm saying? Like if you can break down this game according to this criteria, and then I can go find film, and the film actually matches what. See, the problem is what a lot of old heads end up doing is when they break down these players' games, they lie and they over sensationalize a lot of stuff about these players. And then when we go back and watch the film, we expected to see the goddamn incredible hope. Yeah, but then we watch the film, and I'm like, oh man, what's going on here? Like this don't look right. Like they overhype it up. And then when you go back and watch, it don't match to how you just described it. That's what's
very simple, very simplistic. Yeah.
Very like Bob McAdoo was the first stretch forward. Like he going down in history. He was the very first like 3-level forward. Like he can drive to the basket, he mid-range game, 3-point game, and he won MVPs as well. Like competing with Kareem and Moses Malone in those 70s. So I mean, I feel like we just got to put some respect on some of the old heads because that wasn't no easy task.
That's super fair, and it might be sometimes too. I would agree with that. I think sometimes we do kind of maybe subconsciously look at the vanity of how they score, right? The vanity of the scoring versatility, right? Like bro just said, he just said Bob McAdoo was able to stretch out to the floor. You know what I mean? But he may do it in different ways that it may not be pleasing to the eye, or maybe we don't understand to the eye. You get what I mean? So sometimes I think a lot of people do include vanity in how it looks. You know what I mean? In terms of scoring versatility, stuff like that.
And MacDef, just to give you, this was Carmelo Anthony's shot chart while he was in New York, which is probably a pretty good sample size because the bulk of his time in New York, that was his prime. And so here's his shot chart. The orange. So what you see here is you see a guy literally who can make shots anywhere on the floor. That's all I'm saying. Like, so when we go to this, I mean, this is why Carmelo is looked at as one of the most difficult players to guard in NBA history. This is why players say he was a nightmare to defend.
That's all I was trying to say, though, bro. That's all I was trying to say. Like the two players you used didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I know we like Kareem and we want to try to put him at the top of every list. He's not going to be at the top of every list. Just like LeBron ain't gonna be at the top of every list that we do. LeBron's not at the top of my list here. But if you do a greatest player of all time list, LeBron might edge a couple guys out. He might be at that top spot for you. Right? But this list right here just ain't for Kareem. It ain't for the centers.
Now, if you want to say he was, go ahead, my fault. Go ahead.
It's just an unfortunate reality of the centers, especially the old day centers. I mean, they were bigger than everybody else. The game was predicated on you just going back to the basket. It wasn't predicated on these guys adding a ton to their game, being versatile. Defenses hadn't really evolved yet. And so that is kind of what hurt guys being looked at as versatile scorers. Maybe if he played in this era, he would have had a little more in his back. I don't know, but we can only judge them off what they did and who they were.
Now, if you want to say Kareem is a better post player than Carmelo, because that's where he did most of his damage, I'm not arguing that. But if you take all the other aspects of, scoring, like Gil said, like I feel like he beat Kareem out easily in the other four categories: ISO, mid range, three. He wasn't much of an off ball player, but I mean the other three main categories, he beat them out clearly to me.
That's a fact right there, man. Like, I mean, I think it's a fairly simple thing. I think that my thing today was talking about guys. You could tell when people when you get no shade to Mookie's channel, but there's a clear agenda over there. They're like there is a clear agenda. Like they have certain agendas with certain players. Like certain guys just never get a fair shake in certain conversations over there. No matter who they are and what they do. And so when you're dealing with people that stem from places where they talk basketball where it's extremely slanted and biased, and even one of the greatest players of all time, like LeBron James, can't even get a fair shake. I don't expect you to come over here with much logic anyway. And it's just a lot of that won't really. It's hard for me to fly. I don't really like Carmelo as a player. I thought he was kind of selfish. I mean, you can knock him for a ton of things. I'm not going to take away the scoring from him. I can't take that away from him. Yeah. That's what he had.
Yeah, that's what he did, man. That's what he did.
It's just like Akeem Olajuwon. I don't like him, but I can't take defense. That'd be like me trying to convince y'all he was a trash defender.
Yeah, that's crazy. You know and literally pull like straw man arguments just to try to prove that point. Like, look at what Shaq did to him. Like that would be, you know what I mean? Like that. Yeah.
Here's what I'm saying. Like, it's just dumb. Like I gotta give Hakeem his flower. That's why I said Hakeem was in that honorable mention. Right there with the guys like Allen Iverson, and which is a great category of players to be in, and Hakeem is well deserving of it. So
that's why it seems like I gotta ask you, because it seems like the conversation keep coming down to production versus versatility, and I want to ask you as a coach, if you had a player who had one unstoppable move, and he was a great player, would you take that player over a player who could score in all different ways?
Well, check it. This is a great question, because just this past year, I had a guy with an unstoppable move. Actually, obviously this year we dealt with a different ton. We weren't the same as the year before when we went to the national championship, but my best player had one unstoppable move. And the problem, what happened was when it came down time, when we were in that semifinal, when we played UCLA, the number one team in the country, well, these motherfuckers have been watching all of our games from start to end. And my best player with that one unstoppable move, they clamped that shit up.
It's over.
What was the move? If I don't mind me asking.
Oh, he was a shooter. He was a 3-point shooter.
Three-point shooter.
Really, all he had. Like the thing is, no matter what, if you only have one move, and I tried to work with him all year, adding to his game, putting the ball on the floor, and he did a good job, but he just didn't. Remember on that Chat GPT list, work ethic. He just didn't put in enough work to add enough versatility to his game where he felt confident doing it in game. So he always relied on the shooting. And I'm telling you, that motherfucker can shoot. This shit carried us a long way. I ain't gonna lie. But when we played the number one team in the country, that shit ended there. They motherfuckers sent this 6'9". Whenever you see one of them, a black dude that's 6'9", that can't, whenever you have a black dude on the court 6'9" and can't shoot, best believe that motherfucker know how to defend, and he has
long arms, long ass arms.
Oh
and shit.
my god, bro!
Black Air Force energy.
And you know what he do? And this is what they do too. Because my best player, he was a white dude. You know what they? You know what one of their strategies to do is? They start talking.
Oh yeah. In his head. It was in his head. It's in his head.
Oh man.
And I
Dude
think, and I think
red.
Cuss word
and I
there.
think,
Cuss word there.
But I'm
and I
saying,
think the only, I
that's what
think
get
the only
that's
time you could
that's what
go
got.
ahead,
But the year
Lamar.
before, remember the year before when we actually did a lot better. My best player was my big man, but my big man could do it all. Well, this motherfucker could drive, dunk on people, shoot threes. That motherfucker. We went, and the only reason why we lost in the national championship game. I would put it on me. I wouldn't even put that on the players. I fucked some shit up, rotational wise. I wouldn't even put it on the players. We should have won that. And I can't blame the refs or nothing like that. But we definitely had the best player in the country by far. But that motherfucker was versatile. I can get him on the show right now, probably. The motherfucker can do everything.
I think the only time you can have a Kareem at 7-1, like Shaq, you know what I'm saying, the most dominant center, like Wilt, you know what I'm saying? Like when it comes to having one move and not really developing the solution to Shaq was send him to the free throw line. You know what I'm saying? So he really didn't have to develop no man. He didn't have to go out nowhere besides 8 feet for real. That jump hook he had over the right shoulder, like. But other than like really developing your game like a perimeter player would do, you know what I'm saying? As far as expanding from the paint out, I feel like you got to have that physical gift as well to, you know what I'm saying, to live off one move like that or one area of the court, I should say.
And you know, the good thing, the one thing that a lot of people don't account for is to stop a Shaq there was a formula to slow Shaq down. The Detroit Pistons had it. Yeah. But it took a certain type of personnel. So if you didn't have the right personnel to do it,
you're cooked.
You could never stop Shaq. And so a lot of these teams struggle to stop the Shaqs and the Kareem Abdul-Jabbars because a lot of teams just didn't have the personnel to do it. You can have the greatest defensive strategy in the world, but if I give you 5 GOAT mics, you ain't beat nobody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I give you 5 rounds,
you remember with Jokic in the bubble, right? Like in the bubble, they had Dwight Howard as well as JaVale McGee, as well as Anthony Davis. So now they have this trio of big men that's able to corral him, and now you can, play with different schemes on the back end, stuff like that. But now look at fast forward to just Anthony Davis and Rui and LeBron at times. That's not Jokic is looking at them like this is barbecue chicken. Like this is easy for me. And the rest of the team,
you can tell Vanderbilt to do what Dwight Howard was doing.
Yeah, but he's not gonna do it.
He ain't gonna look the same. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's a talent gap there too.
It's gonna look a wild different.
Hey, so can I ask you a question, Lamont? And really all y'all for us. So we've been talking about offense, and I kind of got a better understanding, you know what I'm saying, of offense in general. So are there any 3-level defenders or 5-level defenders in NBA history? You know what I'm saying? That could defend, you know what I'm saying, the post, the dribble step backs from mid range, the off ball movement, the three. You know what I'm saying? Is there any players
I
in
would
NBA
say the
history?
closest thing,
Scotty.
I would say Scotty and Tim Duncan.
KG2.
And then you could probably put Draymond in like a distant third.
Low key, like a fringe, like
because it's hard to put Draymond over Scotty and Tim Duncan defensively. But the thing is, Draymond, the one key to him is that he's versatile defensively. That's what makes him so, and he's pretty good at guarding all positions. But I think Scotty, Draymond, Tim Duncan were elite at all 5
would
levels.
Would you put Kawhi anywhere in there?
No, because I can't give Kawhi off ball. I did a whole video about his off ball defense. I can't give him that.
He will get killed on backdoor cuts a lot of the time.
Yeah, bro.
What about the series against Milwaukee? Like, I think Kawhi was because what they did with Giannis was a lot of off ball D and him working with Paul Gasol. I think that was one of his best performances in terms of off ball D. But I hear what you're saying in other areas though.
Yeah, that was a team effort too. When you look back at that shit,
Yeah, yeah,
they had
definitely.
you know, saying they had with my boy Pascal and
Yeah, yeah.
Gasol.
Mhm.
They had everybody right down on the side because Kawhi did a great job at picking up on ball, but all them other dudes right there behind him.
Yeah,
And
no, that's
see,
true.
remember, you got to think like this is the example that when I talk about the old heads, like if we was all 75 years old talking about Kawhi Leonard, like old heads of the day, if they would over exaggerate Kawhi Leonard's defense so much to where they would trick people into thinking this man did it all defensively, as opposed to just being honest. Like, and that's why I wish they would do with the older players. You know, y'all had the advantage of watching them play, seeing more film, and maybe clips and whatnot. We got to go back and watch, but really, a lot of us don't go back and watch. So I just wish they would actually just be honest about like what were Kareem's weaknesses. Can you tell me that? When did y'all see him struggle? What players made him struggle? Was there any guys that slowed him up?
85 with the 85 Celtics in the finals.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I mean, but they don't never talk about it. Like they be talking about like these old guys. Like when I hear people talk about Moses Malone, this man might as well just grab 35 rebounds a game, and he had 35 points a game. And it's just like, I watched the video. I know he had flaws in his game. He didn't look like he was better than Andre Drummond.
So Lamar, so who would you you would choose Draymond over Kawhi as a defender? Because
I would take
you would have Kawhi as that.
Because Draymond's going to elevate everybody around him defensively. Kawhi Leonard's going to be like Kawhi Leonard has been on some teams defensively with Paul George and Patrick Beverly. You would think this would be the most unstoppable defensive force of all time, but the problem is he doesn't know how to elevate the others around him. Like Draymond elevated. He elevated.
What about
KD
on ball,
and Steph.
like versus Draymond on ball?
But like when
Draymond's a lead off, like Draymond's a lead off ball.
Like when you think of the Clippers defense when they had Pat Bev, like he was the quarterback of the defense, but he's the front line, so he can't see what's going on behind him, as opposed to a player like Draymond. No, I'm just talking like Kawhi Leonard, like you just said, and the defenders he had with him with the Clippers when Pat Bev was over there, how they were supposed to be better.
When the ball moves on the court, as soon as the ball moves and you're on the weak side, you are the back line. Like I'm sure Kawhi Leonard's had the opportunity to be the backside defender. I mean, multiple times, and it's just what you do as that backside defender. Like you can dang near hear from your TV screen, Draymond Green calling out reads, telling guys to switch. You can hear him blowing up plays before the ball is inbounded. Things like that. This is something you've seen LeBron do as well. So his off-ball defense is second to none. Up there with Pippins, up there with Duncan's.
You said on ball, like you give him on ball over Kawhi, right?
I feel like his off-ball defense is actually better than his on-ball defense, but his on-ball defense is pretty good too.
But better than Kawhi, you'd say? Draymond?
Off-ball's better than Kawhi. On ball, Kawhi Leonard might have it on the perimeter, but I don't think Kawhi Leonard has it on the interior. So I think Draymond Green does a better job of guarding centers and power forwards. But Draymond Green is also competent guarding point guards, shooting guards, and small forwards on switches. And we've seen him stay in front of guards. We've seen him guard the best of the best on the perimeter and hold his own. So
that's definitely fair. For sure. That's definitely fair.
Hold on, let me get
No doubt.
So the thing about it is too, like, so degree of difficulty, that's why I wanted to ask too. So like degree of difficulty, especially, in the scoring aspect of it, how much do you factor that? Like, is there a percentage that you may give towards that? Because that wasn't also in the chat GPT, you know what I mean? Kind of breakdown. So like if that's let's say quote unquote, that's another category. Like how much do you factor that into account? You know what I mean? Because Kobe, go ahead.
I say that most shots in the NBA at the NBA level are difficult.
Okay.
And so when I go to shot creation, your ability to get these shots off and just know that these shots have a chance of going in.
Okay.
Is what elevates you up there. Like the fact that in very tight spaces with not much room to operate, with help defense surrounding them, guys like Carmelo, Tracy McGrady, Kobe, Jordan, these guys can operate in really tight windows and still get their shot off with elite defense on them. And the shot has a realistic chance of going in every time.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't expect nothing to be easy. Like, I think people think that everybody's supposed to get open shots, run the play perfectly, and the end result of the play, you wide open, you shoot the shot, and it just never works. That's why I say you need a non-pattern player. You need one of them elite level scorers to win in the NBA. Like, this is what when you think about why Chris Paul has struggled. Chris Paul is one of the greatest playmakers of all time, and he struggled to win in the playoffs. And it's because he's not an elite shot maker. You got those the elite shot makers are the ones that consistently do most of the winning. The Dirks to the Hakeems to the Jordans to the LeBrons to Steph Curry to the KDs. You go out all throughout NBA history, even Kawhi Leonard when he won his chip, elite shot maker.
Right.
The playmakers are nice to have, but it's the elite level shot makers that's going to win you chips.
How tall is Chris Paul? Like 6 foot or 6'1" or
6'1", 6 foot.
Yeah, to me, it kind of looked like when I saw him in person, I would say 5'11", 6 foot.
Well, you think that plays a factor? Like his height, maybe?
Yeah, that play a factor.
I think it did when his athleticism started dwindling.
Right.
Like, when he was in New Orleans, like that man was a dog. Like he was.
Yeah.
I mean, he sprayed his shot like it wasn't nothing in New Orleans.
Right.
Yeah, but y'all, even when he was a dog, without elite level, without elite scoring, it's gonna just struggle to win. Like it's just gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. You gotta
sit
have
on certain. Yeah, you can sit on. I would say this, like especially with his play style, being so pick and roll dominant, you could kind of sit on certain moves. Don't get me wrong. There'll be sometimes he'll go into a different bag and make some tough shots. But like you said, it's not consistent enough, and it's not like you can't tell him. For example, like go through a stretch of hitting 10 difficult shots. He has to get, wide open midi, you know what I mean? Like, and of course he will create it. Don't get me wrong. But the ones, let's say, for example, it's a tougher creation and he has to still get it off. I don't think he was able to like counter that. You kind of stifle him in a certain extent. You know what I mean? So I agree with you. I feel like his scoring skill set
that's a
was
good
kind of
one right there.
Oh, Mahmoud Raouf, yeah.
He said Mahmoud Abdul Raouf. That dude, again, that dude was an elite scorer. Like I don't want nobody coming to me with points per game and efficiency.
I'm not here. None of that.
This man
go watch him against Jordan. See what he did to Jordan.
Bro, the man was an elite scorer. Like, give it to him. Like, that's why I say Jamal Crawford,
names out
Joe
there.
Johnson's in that conversation.
Glenn Big Dog Robinson. Stop playing.
Glenn Big
Joe Johnson, yeah. Joe Johnson was sick.
Glenn Robinson, Glenn Robinson was.
I'm curious.
Shot maker.
I'm curious. So, would you say that Paul Pierce? What realm would you consider Paul Pierce versus Joe Johnson? I know you did the Paul Pierce versus Vince Carter.
I feel like Paul Pierce.
Why don't you do Joe Johnson and Carter for?
Okay, we can go with that. We could go with that. Let's do Joe Johnson versus Carter.
Yeah.
With the criteria?
Yeah, with the criteria in terms of shot. Yeah.
That's pretty tough.
All right, so we go with Joe Johnson, Vince Carter. Whoever wants to ask the question, y'all can answer it. So you got shooting skills. Mid-range three-pointer free throws. Shooting form, quick release, shooting percentage. Who you got?
Woo.
I gotta go with Joe. I gotta go with
Joe.
Joe.
Joe for shooting, eh?
But Vince Carter could shoot threes, though. But
he can shoot.
Go with Joe.
Yeah, but remember,
But Joe
shooting
is a
skills is a combination of all of them.
Yeah.
Joe was elite.
Yeah.
So
Joe Johnson.
you got
sure,
you got shot creation. Effectively use dribbles, crossovers, step backs, fadeaways to create separation from defenders to get your shot up.
ISO Joe.
I'll give that to Carter.
ISO Joe.
Bro, his name is ISO Joe. What you think he
Carter,
specializes in?
Joe.
Does driving to the basket count?
Driving does count, but
I give that to Carter, man.
Go ahead, Lamar. Go ahead.
Yeah, but driving to the basket is part of this next category, which is offensive versatility. So it says they can score in various ways: dribble, off the dribble, catch and shoot, posting up, driving to the basket, finishing at the rim. I still say that goes to Joe.
Yeah, because Joe could go in the post.
Whoa.
His post-up game,
Joe was
his
the dog
post-up
in the
game was
Joe's
nasty.
was crazy. Up and
He was
unders,
6'8".
shoot over the right shoulder, shoot over the
All right,
left
maybe
shoulder.
the post, but what about the other thing? What about driving to the rim?
I give Vince
You know,
driving.
shot creation, you know. like especially in the
Vince
mid-range
could
dribble
drive to
move.
the rim. He had
Hold
a
on, hold
post
on.
game mid
ISO Joe
range.
got shot
He had
creation and
everything.
shooting skills.
But
For
no,
sure.
I think
he
versatility.
has it. He has it. But is it better than Carter in terms of creating his own shot?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I mean, when your name is ISO Joe, you're known for creating your own shot.
ISO
That's your
Joe.
name. Like
Yeah,
his
like because
nickname,
Yeah.
his nickname is all about shot creation and creating
shot
your own
creation,
shot.
right.
I hear you. I hear
I go
you.
with
Bro,
Vince on that.
I would say
man,
Vince is definitely a better driver of the basket, right? He's definitely
yeah,
a better
is
finisher.
better
Yeah,
driver.
for sure.
But
Yeah.
outside of
Everything that
driving,
ISO Joe could do, Vince could do. But the
no,
ability to drive to the
no,
basket, I think, is a
no,
lot better.
no. Vince
Nah,
could not
Vince was
do
not a good
everything
poster
Joe did.
player. Vince
I
was
agree
not a
with
good poster
I
player.
agree
I'm
with
not
what he
saying he
said. I
did it
think
better.
everything Joe could
If you're
do.
going to try to tell me that Vince Carter is better than ISO than Joe Johnson, no, I'm not agreeing with that.
But
But everything Joe could do,
this conversation is
even though
just,
he was
we're
better,
not
Vince
saying
could
that
do.
Joe's a better player than Vince. This is to determine if Joe's a better scorer than Vince.
It's shot creation. Everything that Joe Johnson could do, shot creating.
Yeah, they
Vince
both could do it. We
also
know that,
do
but
as
who did
well.
it better?
Again, Joe Johnson did it better as far as that
That's
goes.
all we need
But
to
when
know.
but when it goes to driving to the basket, it's a wrap.
But
He had another
driving
attribute.
driving to the basket is not his own category. That's bundled
all
in with
around.
offensive versatility. And so when you
I
go to
think Carter
offensive
was.
versatility,
I think Carter was a better ball handler too.
No.
Nah.
Then Joe Johnson? For real?
What?
He had a better
For
first step. He had a
real,
better
man?
Bro, you
first step,
seen
and
when
that's
you
it.
seen when
Joe Johnson got the
Vince had
handle.
a
hold on.
yeah,
So
nah.
in
Joe-
offensive versatility, we can give driving to the basket and finishing at the rim to Vince.
There we
but
go.
we would have to give off the dribble, catch and shoot, and posting up to ISO Joe.
Catch and shoot, posting. All right, yeah.
So
Posting
off the
up,
dribble, catch and shoot, and posting up. So that's three. That gives Joe more categories out of versatility than Vince.
In the sub-
so
yeah,
we
the
would
subcategories,
have to
yeah.
give that category to Joe. And then when you go to basketball IQ, I think this one kind of gets tricky because this one it says, but it might not be as tricky as you think. It says elite scorers possess high IQ, allowing them to read defenses, exploit weaknesses, and make intelligent scoring decisions.
I think
Spacing,
Joe got
timing.
that.
I think Joe got that.
I think Joe got
Yeah, I
that.
think Joe was a smarter, higher IQ. Yeah.
And then when you go to footwork's
That's
our
Joe.
own category.
That's Joe.
That's
That's
ISO Joe. We
Joe.
ain't gotta go.
And then when you go to confidence and mental toughness, I mean,
That's
ISO
Joe.
Joe
That's
was one of
Vince
the
Carter.
Clutches.
Ooh, that's ISO Joe.
Both of them were clutch though.
Y'all better go look at Vince Carter
Both
in the
of them were clutch.
2000-2001 playoffs.
Bro,
Y'all
Joe is
tripping.
one of the
they
most
both
clutch
clutch.
players in NBA history.
Y'all got it, man.
Yeah.
Y'all got it.
I mean, let's
Joe
say we give that one. Okay,
watch
we
Vince
can
Carter
give that.
put 50
We
on
can
Philly,
give that
man.
one. Let's say we give that one to Vince. And then
Which one?
physical
Which one?
I think confidence and mental toughness, even though I don't agree.
All
But then
right.
we give, I think physical attributes is not even close. That goes to Vince.
Yep.
And then work ethic. That
Joe.
gotta go to Joe.
Gotta go to Joe.
Because one of the biggest knocks on Vince Carter's whole career is work ethic.
Yeah, definitely.
Joe.
So
So you gotta give it to
that gives Joe, that puts Joe over.
That's just
Damn.
Pass that round. Now let's do Paul Pierce. Let's do the Paul Pierce one because that's gonna be interesting.
That's gonna be
Paul
tough.
Pierce and Joe.
Yeah.
I
Paul Pierce
put
and
Paul
Joe
Pierce
Johnson.
over Joe.
Come on, let's go through it. Let's go through it. Let's go
Okay,
through it.
Paul
Let's
Pierce
do
and
it.
Joe.
Yeah,
Shooting skills. Y'all know what shooting skills consist of. Who y'all giving it to?
Pierce.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it to Pierce. I'm gonna get it to Pierce, dog.
Damn.
That Pierce.
Am I gonna give it to Pierce?
That
Am I gonna
Pierce.
give it? I don't know.
Paul Pierce was far better.
Joe
at
is
being
such a
three-point
dog,
shooter.
bro.
Pierce was a better shooter, man. Yeah, Pierce. That's the truth.
I'll give it to Pierce. Yeah, no doubt. Pierce, man.
Oh, that's
Especially
tough
clutch.
right
Yo, I
Pierce
have
hit
to
way
give
more
it to Joe.
clutch
I
shots
might
than
give it to
Joe.
Joe. Lamar. I might have to give it to Joe. I
Bro,
might.
man. Anybody that watches him play, man, that man. Woo.
What
Alright,
about
we can-
clutch? What about the
I said-
clutch?
But that's in
No,
the,
let's go to the
that's in
criteria. We can
mental
go to the
toughness.
criteria. Let's go. Yeah.
All
So
right,
we got
cool.
shot creation, dribble moves, crossover, step back, fadeaways to get separation. Paul Pierce
Ooh.
or ISO Joe. I think that
Going
goes
with
to Joe.
Pierce.
That
I'm
ISO.
going
That
with
ISO Joe.
Pierce.
Ooh.
I got
All
Joe.
Somebody
I got
the
Joe.
entire
back
package.
history,
That
Say that
ISO
again,
Joe.
that-
post game.
Can you say the
And
criteria one more time?
They both could do it, but I think Joe was better at it.
Yeah, I think Joe was a little bit better at it.
Elite scores have the ability to
Pierce.
create their
I'll
own
take
shot,
Pierce with his skills. I'm
dribble
sorry.
moves, crossover, step backs, fadeaways.
Create their own shot, dribble moves.
Yeah, I think Joe had more in his bag.
Ooh, I like Pierce, man. I like Pierce, but I
Joe
hear
had a
y'all.
deeper bag.
Yeah, I think Joe had like more counters with the, you know what I mean, in shot creation. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like versus Paul Pierce, he kind of went to certain moves and just said, "I'm gonna go crazy with those moves."
All right, we got offensive versatility. This is off the dribble, catch and shoot, posting up, driving to the basket, finishing at the rim.
Paul Pierce.
I gotta get out to Paul.
That Pierce.
Yeah, Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce.
Yeah, that's Paul Pierce.
Yeah, I'll give Pierce on that.
This is gonna be a tough one too. Basketball IQ, making decisions, intelligent scoring decisions, spacing, timing, manipulating defensive scoring opportunities for themselves and teammates. And see, I like how they said for themselves and teammates. And I think
that's nasty. That's a nasty bad.
That sentence at the end, yeah, that might give it to Paul. That sentence at the end makes me shift towards Paul. Period.
Paul. Yeah.
Yep. All right, then we got footwork.
Oh, what's the two players? What's the two players you're comparing?
Paul Pierce and
Paul Pierce and Joe Johnson.
So we got footwork.
You said footwork.
That's Paul Pierce all day. Y'all better stop.
Footwork in the post with Joe Johnson. Footwork in the post was crazy.
We splitting hairs on that one. We splitting hairs.
I don't know. I gotta go.
Coin toss. That's a coin toss.
Yeah, I'm biased, man. I'm biased. I'm going Paul Pierce. Like on pretty much all categories.
I'm gonna go Joe.
Joe embarrassed people with this because you got to think. You know what was footwork with Joe?
Man. He was too
Joe was
smooth.
not
Where's
the
Paul
fastest.
Pierce?
Paul Pierce was kind of clunky. He was kind of clunky.
Man, Joe Johnson had Paul Pierce on his hands.
That is
he was clunky. Pierce was clunky, but he made it work though.
Yeah, that's true.
Somehow,
He did make it work.
But
it might be a vanity thing for me when it comes to Joe Johnson in terms of
when
like
ISO
how
Joe
he
hit you with a move, you knew it. Like it's over with. Like
it's over for that ball. Paul Pierce is kind of like, did he really hit me with a move? Not really. He just made a tough shot over me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and then hold on, but y'all remember when ISO Joe hit Paul Pierce with that move? He had Paul Pierce on the floor.
Oh my God!
Put him on it. That was nasty.
He had him on the floor.
Nasty.
Which team was he on?
And in Brooklyn a couple of times.
Man, he had Paul Pierce on his hands and knees, and he wasn't doing nothing but
playing Twister. Left foot here, right foot
crazy. He ain't hit him with no step back. He ain't hit him with no hezzy. He hit him with four combos.
Let me see if I can find the highlight.
Oh, man.
That boy was
Hey, Joe Johnson, what team was he drafted to? Atlanta?
No, he was drafted to the Suns, and he got a big. So that's why I kind of give it to Joe a little bit, just while Lamar's looking it up. Is because of his offensive responsibility on the Suns was a little bit different. He was more of like a catch and shoot player. He didn't really get to show his ISO, but then when he came into Atlanta, he showed his, full, isolation bag. And then eventually when he started work, he played with Brooklyn, and he played with other players like Darren Williams, you know what I mean? Paul Pierce. He still was able to be the same guy. So, you know what I mean? Like he had to play different roles, but he was successful in all different styles of roles.
Here go right here.
What is the Brooklyn one? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Come here. Yeah. Where you going? Come here.
You reach, I teach.
The flute player. That's not flute.
Shit. Yeah.
That's a crazy move.
And that's not even the Atlanta one. That's not even the Atlanta one. He gave him work too.
Damn.
Joe Johnson, man.
Hey, bro, Fo don't talk about enough how Joe Johnson really outplayed Paul Pierce in the 2008 playoffs too, man. He really balled out on the Celtics in that first round.
Who y'all give confidence and mental toughness to?
Confidence and mental toughness.
I give that to Paul Pierce.
I gotta give it to Paul Pierce. You get stabbed and you still hooping. Yeah, that's crazy. It's a different type of mental toughness. It's a different type of mental. That's why he became the truth, man. That's why he became the truth.
Then physical attributes.
That might be Paul Pierce, man.
No, I'll give that to Joe. I'd give that to Joe.
That might be Paul Pierce.
I might give it to Paul because he's a little bit bigger. I guess he can take advantage and bully guys.
So here's the definition. It says physical attributes include speed, agility, quickness, strength, leaping ability,
speed,
can create separation, finish at the rim, and overcome defensive challenges.
Paul Pierce, man.
Oh shit! All right.
At Paul Pierce, especially if we talking about Paul Pierce from the beginning of the Celtics.
Yeah, but Paul Pierce. But you can't put speed, agility, quickness, strength, and leaping ability with Paul Pierce, though. Like
You can do it for Joe Johnson.
Yeah, you can, but you can't do it with Paul. Them two don't go together.
But my thing is, okay, I get your point, but let's be fair. Joe Johnson wasn't a burner. You know what I mean? He wasn't this like quick, crafty. Like, don't get me wrong, he was quick for his size. You know what I mean? And he was, but to be fair, I think Paul Pierce was able to take advantage of his size a little bit better than Joe Johnson. I think Joe Johnson, although he can impose himself physically, but I think Paul Pierce was able to do that just a little bit more.
In game more. I give you that.
Yeah.
And then work
ethic. And what about the height? Like Paul Pierce, I think they were about the same height, no?
I think they were about the same height. Yeah, I don't think the height was a big difference for them each.
Who y'all think the better scorer is between Melo and T-Mac?
That's tough.
Melo and T-Mac. Wow.
They did tough. They did.
In terms of what? I feel as far as like just overall scoring. I feel like they did
run it.
Yeah, run that.
Shit. Oh shit.
Because T-Mac, I think we all agree.
You know, we actually had a debate with T-Mac and Paul George.
Versatility though.
We actually had two people do a debate with T-Mac and Paul George.
Well, I don't even think that's close, man.
I think T-Mac won, obviously. I mean, I don't think that's
as he should.
T-Mac won that.
But
between Melo and T-Mac,
what might give Melo the edge might be the post game though.
Yeah.
And footwork. I think footwork too.
Footwork too, yo.
Yeah.
Melo is different. Yeah, because if you go through the list, I think shooting skills. Ooh, does Paul George get that one?
I test to the list too, because Melo had one of the prettiest jump shots in the league. You know what I'm saying?
It's hard. Damn,
like if we could add eye test to it, just to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's what I said too.
So it breaks it down. It says smooth shooting form, quick release, and high shooting percentage. And Melo had one of the quickest releases in NBA history.
Yeah.
That's why I say sometimes, like we kind of subconsciously, right, Lamar? Like I feel like sometimes we kind of have to throw vanity into it because look at like we just said with Joe Johnson versus Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce was kind of clunky, you know what I mean? Like, and Joe Johnson had this smooth where it looked a little bit effortless. Like, you get what I'm saying? Where Paul Pierce like, I'm struggling, but I'm gonna get the shot off. But I'm kind of struggling while I'm getting the shot. It looked, he may not be struggling, but it looks like
it almost looked like he was acting.
I mean, but
I don't know if I get this off.
If you get it done, like LeBron James is clunky than a motherfucker too, but he get the job done.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Like nothing he does. Ain't nobody out there trying to replicate none of LeBron crossovers, none of that. They ain't doing none of no LeBron.
No, that is not a bag that you want to get into. No cap.
No.
You know his signature move, that shit where he dribble at the 3-point line, look at the ball, and then snatch that bitch quick. Like he trying to
that's not a move, bro.
That's his signature shit. Hey.
Or the ugly spin move. Or the ugly spin move. That's the ugliest spin move. Man.
Oh my god! I think Pascal stole that spin move from him.
But it worked though. I mean,
Pascal
it worked. I can't knock it. I can't work like Sean Marion jump shot ugly, but it worked.
It go.
It worked.
You know who had the ugliest jump shot, but it worked? Was Kevin Martin.
Oh man!
When he was with the TV,
I could never shoot that man on 2K.
He was a bucket. He was a bucket.
I
could never
jump shot was doo. Yo, that look doo.
Yo, Lamar, if you were his coach, man, if you were
change nothing, you don't change nothing.
Now you gotta realize once a guy is like after 16, 17-year-old, don't fuck with nothing. It is the game not gonna fix it. You're not gonna change it. Like when they're young and like 10, 12, you can change it. But once they hit like 16, 17, just work with what you got. You ain't gonna change like mechanics and all that. You might, if a good shooting coach can maybe change some small things, but like if you start tinkering around with too much, then you get Markelle Fultz.
I feel like that's what happened with Giannis. Like if you watch Giannis in his early years before he put on weight, he had a decent jump shot. Like mid-range street, like he had a decent
in terms of like the form,
and then like as he got bigger, he got into that 2-motion shot where it's like he bend his knees and he like it looked awkward.
Like he's thinking about it while he's shooting.
But y'all don't realize like this is why college coaches are real like iffy about a ton of weight training because when you hit the weights and you gain all that muscle, it messes with your shooting touch.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah.
And so you gotta, I mean, maybe because he gained that muscle in like 2 years. Like, I don't know if he had enough time to catch up with the mechanics.
Yes, yep. That
Hey,
muscle
look,
memory. Go ahead, D. Go ahead.
Since we talking about it, I feel like that's kind of what's wrong with AD. Like the growth spurt he had, I feel like his muscles and his ligaments and shit ain't had time to catch up with the growth spurt, and that's why he injured all the damn time.
Bro, imagine that shit though. You know, imagine waking up at the end of the summer. You started the summer 6'1", the end of summer you 6'7". Bro, that's like every kid's dream, though. I ain't gonna lie, bro.
That's
fine. That shit happened. Bro. The shit happened like his junior to senior year. So it's like,
perfect.
By the time he got that body, he was off to college. You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
I wish that would have happened to me, bro. Because I was already mad they put me on the JV team as a freshman, right? So I'm mad as hell. So shit, I wish if I'd have came back,
just get that growth spurt. I'm varsity.
Yeah. Ain't no questions now. Ain't no questions.
You just go walk in. Oh, he's in varsity now.
Yes, that's how. Yeah, that's exactly what it would have been. Like, I'm varsity. Like,
the coaches are looking up at you like, yeah, we got to put you in varsity now. But to make the thing about the jump shot, right? Like, so how do you feel about Lonzo changing his jump shot? Yeah, how do you feel about that? Because obviously, I mean, it's not it is and it isn't a crazy tweak. I mean, he's not shooting off the side of his face anymore. But how do you feel like he was able to kind of break down his mechanics and things of that nature, and then kind of start from scratch and kind of just move his shooting pocket from across his face to his right side?
I know how, because at the bottom of the list, right? At the bottom of the list,
work ethic,
elite score, work ethic.
There you go,
guys. It says elite scores dedicate countless hours to refining their skills. And this is the key element to it. Like, you cannot get better if you don't sell out. You got to sell out to the gym. You got to give up. Like these guys like Lonzo that commit to, and they come back and they are visibly better. They probably had a very boring offseason. They didn't do no traveling, no
2
partying.
off seasons at that.
Yeah, they just locked away in the gym and got better. This is what people have been begging Ben Simmons to do.
Jesus,
they've been begging Ja Morant to do it. Like, there's a lot of they've been begging.
That's why it's
so
sad what's going on with Lonzo right now. Like,
you took the words
play again, yo. Like,
yo,
it's sad.
you took the words right. I was just about to say that, bro. I was wondering, is that the reason why I felt the way I felt about Lonzo? Is because he put in all that work, and then to deal with this, like, holy shit.
Yeah, bro.
Everything we asked him to do as fans, everything the coaching staff asked him to do, he got better. He became one of the best perimeter defenders. He became a more than reliable 3-point shooter, and he was already one of the best facilitators in the league. So
but
see what's going on with him. Yeah, he improved the free throw shooting.
He improved the free throw shooting, and then on top of that, he improved like just the ball handling. Because remember, he used to give it the pill pretty fast. He wouldn't, you know what I mean? He wasn't like taking contact in the lane. He would kind of pass out of like layups and stuff like that. But then he started
saying,
saying,
"He had more command of the offense."
Yeah,
he had more command of the offense because he had scorers around him. So he, you know, he was more comfortable in the pick and roll. He was more comfortable making the skip pass. Like, that shit just sad seeing what's going on with him. Because, like I said, they talking about he might never play again, and that's crazy.
That's tough.
Yeah, bro. That shit hit me like somebody. That shit hit me like somebody died, bro. I was like, what the hell?
Like, yeah, they said the surgery he had to have cadaver replacement surgery, and it's just like they said is out of like the 6 NBA players that got that surgery, none of them survived in NBA afterwards.
You know how many of those players was big men, and how many players was
most of them were guards. I had the list.
Oh, word, damn!
I think it was like Jason Richardson was one of them. I forget the names of all the players, but they all careers basically ended after they got the surgery. They couldn't keep playing.
Well, Golden State Warriors, Jason. Yeah, Jason,
that's all. Is this Orlando? Is this Orlando Magic? Jason Richardson at that time?
Here, I'll tell you. I'm gonna tell you. All NBA. Tell you all the names of the players.
Yeah, because Jason Richardson in Orlando, he was all right. He was cool. So it might have been maybe around that time. But also, like, the thing about it is he had like crazy bounce. Like he didn't have like regular NBA bounce. He had like Vince Carter, like Zach LaVine, those type of bounce. So his bounce being is now like
shit.
Yeah,
Never mind. My bad. I'm wrong.
Okay.
I just read the article.
Mm.
It says no NBA player has undergone a cartilage or cadaver transplant and returned to the court.
Wow.
Yo, that's wild.
That's crazy.
Man,
That's wild.
and that's from the Chicago Tribune, and that was on March 20th, 2023.
Do you think that's the case for the
Chicago Bulls guard has rare cartilage transplant, and no NBA players ever returned to the court after that surgery.
Wow.
Damn, bro.
Man, because I feel like he can help so many teams right now, yo. He can help so many teams.
I'm just glad he signed that big ass contract before that.
Guys,
for real.
That's all I can be happy for. At
Yes,
least
sir.
I feel
Yes,
so
sir.
bad for guys like IT, Isaiah Thomas. They didn't get their money before they got injured, man. That's
Right.
so I can be happy. I can be happy for him because at least he got a big
He
ass
got some
paycheck.
paper. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
So
no
he good.
doubt.
Right.
No
I see
doubt.
what cracked his hips, right? If I'm not mistaken, IT cracked his hips, and it was kind of shot after that. It was over, and they were supposed to back out the brink trucks for him, right?
Yeah, but no, hold on. Remember, but early in that year before he got hurt, they gave him $100 million offer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So,
Turned
he turned it down.
Same
was
thing with
hooping.
Victor Oladipo, turned $100 million deal now.
Yep.
Um,
He might be another one too, where like his injuries is like
Wait,
wearing his
Oladipo
body
turned
down,
down.
man.
When did
The
Oladipo turn down the 100 mil? For what team was that?
that was with the Pacers, I believe.
Yeah, Indiana.
Oh shit,
Crazy.
Turned it down to test the market.
Yep.
damn.
And that's why sometimes like you were saying, he was like, there's a level of delusion that sometimes players live in because of their belief in themselves and the work that they put in. You know what I mean? And sometimes it kind of stifles them from reality, and they don't understand. Like, yo, you don't know what's gonna happen to you 1 year down the line. Sometimes you're like, yo, I just gotta take the money. So sometimes we can't look at the guys when they just take the money and they take their biggest contract and they don't love the game or they don't want to win. Sometimes they don't know their basketball, what's the word? Like their basketball lifespan. Yeah.
Lillard, Beal.
That's how I knew Kawhi Leonard's knee was messed up. Because that last contract he signed a long-term deal. He had been signing 1-and-1s.
Fair enough.
When he signed that long-term deal, I
like,
said, that dude knee must be bad.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to secure the bag.
You need the security. Fair enough. That's actually I didn't like.
Makes sense.
You just sparked that in my head. I'm like, oh, that makes perfect sense. And to
he ain't been healthy since he signed.
Yeah, facts. He already knew what's up. He already knew what's up.
For real.
He knew what's up. Can I be mad at him for that? I can't. I can't be mad at him. Yo, he got his rings and he got his money, man. He was part of, he was a part of a dope team, and he made an NBA moment that'll live forever and ever. So, I mean, what else does he really need, to be honest with you? Everything else is just icing on the cake, to be honest with you.
That's a fact.
But you don't think he should have ran it back though in Toronto, Kawhi? You don't think?
No, I thought he should have stayed in Toronto, but
me too.
Oh yeah,
me too.
But the problem with that is like anybody that's been to Canada and then the logistics of going in and out of the country.
It's a lot.
And then like they offered him a ton to stay. They gave him a place, but you be tough to get. Remember, his sister was dealing with all these legal troubles.
Right.
He wasn't gonna never be able to come to Canada to see him and stuff like that. So.
I'm in Toronto. I don't know what it's like to leave Toronto, so I'm the opposite.
Bro, I went into Canada one time. When I went to Windsor, Canada one time, these fools, like, I don't know who they thought I was, a drug smuggler or something. They took every door panel off, everything in my car. Didn't even put the shit back together right. Just took panels off,
crazy.
searching for shit. I'm like,
they thought you was the plug, Lamar. They thought you was the plug.
Bro, now not me. I wish I had money like that at that time. Shit. I was driving. I could tell you the car. I had an old ass Dodge Dynasty. It was a 1991. Y'all know the Dodge Dynasties.
I already know that. I already know that.
So old
I bought it.
I don't even know the Dynasty,
bro. I bought it for $600.
A Dodge Dynasty? What's that, fam?
Bro, go her. I pull it.
Go Google it. Go.
Never heard of that. I drove a Dodge Shadow.
Look, check this out. I had got like my financial aid check from school, and I just went to the car dealership, bro. And I was like, bro, I ain't got that much money.
Give me whatever.
I said, just give me something, bro.
Just give
He
me an
said,
A to B, man. Just give me an A to B.
hey, I ain't gonna lie, this thing lasts me a whole good year. Like the fact that I drove to Canada in it, bro, I don't know how.
It's wicked.
Real
Yo,
shit,
that's so
real shit.
Yeah, that's crazy. That was God right there for sure.
I had a Dodge
He
Shadow.
wanted you to get there.
There's a picture right here. I'm gonna show you a picture of it right here. Let me see. This is a Dodge Dynasty right here. I sold it to a junkyard. It broke down on me in the middle of the street, man.
Yeah. That's what a technical was supposed to do. Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was
No.
leader.
Yo, Lamar, be for real. You don't think they're gonna stop you?
You think
they're gonna stop you?
Hey,
That's like a Narcos car. That was like a car in Narcos. I'm not jacking that. I'm stopping you too.
He had the Nico Belly GTA.
Yeah, I'm not. What's he doing there? I'm stopping you too.
Nico Belly.
It's
Nico.
Yeah, that's what I had right there.
That looked like you hide
I'm
something.
trying to see where the bricks at, man. There's a
Look,
You
I
gotta
was so
be hiding
cringy.
something with that
Look,
shit.
y'all, you know, I was so cringy with it. I was so proud of this car. I don't know why I did this, bro. I don't even know why I did this, but I went to Walmart and got the plastic wheel, like the chrome things to put on the wheels.
Oh my goodness.
When it's yours, you do.
Oh
Hey,
my
when it's yours,
Alright.
you don't. Hey, when it's yours, you do what you do, man.
You
That's
pimp my ride,
it's a sense of accomplishment, boy. When it's yours,
Bro,
you do
I
what
don't
you
know
want,
why
man.
I did that, bro. I put them wheel
Pimp my
covers
ride,
on.
the Walmart edition. That's
Why not?
fire.
It took you to Canada, man. Shit.
Man. Right, that's what I'm saying. That's yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm not knocking it. I'm not knocking it.
Bro,
I'm just saying, bro, if you see that car and you 12, you look, hey, listen, what's going on in this car, yo? This car looks very suspicious.
You gonna think Grand Theft Auto trilogy, man. You gonna think the Nico Belly.
That's what I
You gonna
did,
think-
man. Dodge Dynasty. This is the same color too, right here. That's the same color.
Oh yeah, that was the car he pulled up to the apartment with. For sure.
Yo, those cars are
He was
solid,
there.
man. Those cars were solid, man.
Yeah, that's
those
Got
cars
your
would last
hubcaps
you a
though,
good
come on,
20
Josh,
years,
and I had
man.
them chrome cub caps on there from Walmart.
You couldn't tell
Somebody
him
need
nothing.
an A to B, man.
You couldn't tell him.
Everybody
You
need
couldn't
an
tell,
A to
you
B.
couldn't tell him on nothing though. You could have. He out. You feel me? I'm out to
$34.99.
Canada with it. I wanted to ask this
That's
though.
A to T.
I want to ask this. How do you feel about I don't know if you saw KCP shouting out Lethal Shooter. How do you feel about you know what I mean? Like these guys, the trainers, and they're using their social media. Do you think that players are gonna gravitate to them more, or you think they kind of just stick to the regular NBA thing? Because you know what I mean? Like a lot of hoopers are getting a shining light with social media. Trainers are getting shining light with social media. But
Bro,
how do you feel about
these
the whole
trainers, bro? Some of
Yeah.
these trainers, I know it. Damian Lillard's trainer actually lives here in Arizona. He actually does a ton of his workouts over at Grand Canyon University where I coach.
That's fine.
His name is Phil Beckner. Like this dude, you see him, he look like the corniest white dude. Look like he ain't never dribbled nothing ever in his life. But these dudes can get you NBA ready. Like they gift is teaching. They gift is teaching you how to be like. And so that's why I look when I look at some of the players that say they're going to go to Hakeem Olajuwon to learn footwork. I really question if they really truly trying to get better, because if you're really trying to get better with footwork, you probably go to Phil Handy or Rico Hines, the elites. Like these are the elite guys that have proven to get guys better. I don't know if anybody who's went to Hakeem Olajuwon, which as much as he charges, has actually came back better. Dwight didn't get no better footwork wise coming back, but they do it for show to say that they did it. But the guys that's really in the lab, you don't know the trainer's name, like Rico Hines and Phil Handy. They really knew them because they came coaches in the NBA. Outside of that, really, a lot of guys didn't know who they was.
Right.
So
guys like Tyler Ralph and stuff like that. I feel it.
Yeah. Tyler Ralph is really
Lillard,
good.
Is Damian Lillard anywhere in the close to the top 20 all-time scorers?
I got him in
that
20.
conversation. Okay.
He's top 20.
Because when you look at the size and the shots he take, the only player I see close to Steph is him when it comes to the distance shooting.
Dame could have a top 10 case.
Remember what he did?
But I was thinking I didn't want to be. I didn't want to sound like the crazy one, But I was thinking when I'm thinking of his height and what I'm saying, how he's shorter than Steph, and we think Steph is the greatest shooter ever. You know what I'm saying? But
Kobe worked with Hakeem. Now Kobe was already nice.
Kobe was already raw.
Kobe
He
didn't
just
need
he
no
just
Hakeem to
fine
get
tuned it.
better.
Yeah.
Real shit.
He was gonna get better regardless. He was
Dwight
gonna get
Howard
better.
needed footwork, and he
Yes.
couldn't get it. Like,
Yo, what was wrong with Dwight though? Why couldn't he get it though? Like what the fuck?
like
You
look
just
what
made
look
Strong. He
what
was
Rico
too
Hines.
strong for a
Rico
post
Hines
game,
spent
in my
2 years with
opinion.
Jakob Pertl. Jakob Pertl went from a bum to a hooper.
That's fair. That's fair. And the
I
thing
feel
with
like
Dwight,
Dwight was too strong for a post game. Like just his frame and how he was built. Like all them jump hooks he shot off the glass and missed. Like you could tell he was shooting them bitches too hard. Like he was shooting them too hard. Like no
Yeah,
matter like the
but a good trainer knows how to teach you through that. Like a good trainer is going to teach you. Okay, they're going to look at. Okay, what they're going to do is mostly good trainers. They're just going to watch you for an entire week. They're going to record. They're going to first you got to understand why is he missing these shots. Second, you want to look at how are they missing shots. Is it back rim? Is it short? Is it all over the place, unpredictable?
To the left, to the right.
Right. Yeah. So then you got to analyze that, and then you got to come up with a solution. Okay, what's the solution to fix this? By understanding the guy that you're working with, this is why they expensive. Like these guys ain't cheap, and a lot of
that's the difference. These guys come out with clipboards, man.
Can you teach touch like with a big man? Like just like you can't teach athleticism. Like can you teach touch with the ball? Because I said, I just feel like he was
touch
too
is just about
strong,
slowing down. Like if you look at some strong guys, look at Desmond Bain. That man is strong as hell,
but he got
great touch. So
You're
his
right.
touch
Sorry,
is
who was
about
that?
slowing down and
Who was
not
that?
trying to go a million miles an hour.
Desmond
Desmond
Bain.
Bain.
Oh yeah.
He built like a little mini tank, but he got great touch.
He's just smaller. for real. Like,
Yeah.
but
I love his
I
shot. I
understand.
love
I
his form too. His form is sweet, man. But
Bam Adebayo's built pretty solid. He has a great touch.
He has a great touch. And to be fair, like also like the way that I look at it is too, like, because that's why I hate when everybody says like you can't get better. You can definitely get better as like they'll say, oh, this, and I understand what you're saying. Maybe, you know, in all totality, yeah, you can't change who you are as a basketball player, but you could definitely add levels to your game. You could definitely add levels, you know what I mean? And to be fair about the touch thing, right? They Paul George asked Jaren Jackson about it. He was like, yo, how did you get all these hook shots, you know what I mean? Like over the head hook shots, and you have good touch for being a big man. And he said, yo, that's what my pops, who was Jaren Jackson Sr. from San Antonio Spurs, he said, yo, he had me doing hook shots, shooting threes and doing hook shots. So my touch, he said, I'm so happy I was able to develop it at a young age, because now it would have been so annoying trying to develop touch in the NBA. So it is a thing, is like you said, work ethic. You know what I mean? Like and having the right teachers teach you the right things at the right time. Kyle Kuzma, go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you that for big men, the easiest way to build touch around the rim it's not even complicated. Right. Just use different variations of the mic and drill.
Yep.
And just keep it simple. Like I wouldn't even get too complex with it. I'm just spamming the mic and drill. Just basically aiming for different spots on the backboard.
Yes.
Basically saying, okay, aim at this spot on the backboard and make the layup every time. Aim at this spot, you know, just changing up your angles on where you make these layups. That's probably one of the easiest ways to get your touch. Left hand, right hand touch, going both ways. And
over the
then
head.
You start to extend it out with form shooting.
Yep.
That's what I would do. But
yeah, for sure.
Didn't Brian go to the Dream for 1 year or one off season or a couple?
And to be fair, in Miami, he definitely took a step up in that post game where he was kind of a little bit more smoother, although he was still brawling, but he was a little bit more smooth in the post. Now I don't know what happened over the years. His post game kind of regressed from Miami. And maybe
who you talking about, LeBron?
Yeah, LeBron. Because I think he went to Hakeem during his Miami tenure. You know what I mean? And that's when you saw both of them, Dwayne Wade and Braun, was actually way better in the post than I've seen in the whole entire career. After that, Braun kind of regressed as a post player. So maybe he stopped working on those, you know what I mean? Because to me, I feel like LeBron, if he plays his back to the basket, he could play another couple more years and just be a back to the basket kind of play, you know what I mean? And work from the inside out. But I don't think that he took enough time to, you know, to really focus on that and hone in on that. You know what I mean?
I think LeBron should take on more of a facilitator, like in his aging years.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
What you gonna say, D?
Hey,
I feel like he definitely.
I don't want to kill the conversation, but I got to get this one shut down, man. We're going up on the 4-hour mark. I got to slide up out of here. I got some stuff I got to take care of. But
yes, sir. Salute, man.
Right,
Salute, man.
Appreciate y'all pulling up.
Yo, appreciate you for allowing me to hop on the stream, man. I appreciate
that.
Sir.
No, make sure y'all pull up again, man. That was some solid work right there. And I'm glad. Give a shout out to Gilbert Arenas. Make sure y'all go check out his show, Gils Arena, man. He pulled up and really answered the question. And I wish the people that were really giving a lot of pushback were here.
Now I'm not gonna lie, I want to give some pushback with the Kyrie thing because I think there's a little bit of thing, but next time maybe hopefully I hope hop on.
What he was saying though was like it wasn't really nothing to dispute. Like it's hard to, you know what I'm saying, compare big to a perimeter scorer because they can score in a multitude of ways, but the big is dominant where he's dominant. You know what I'm saying? So you can't take that away from them too. So it's like I understood what he was saying.
I got no pushback for that one, D. I got pushback for the Kyrie and Steph, but I'm gonna say it for another time, Lamar, for sure. But I'm gonna pull up and I'm gonna come with some facts, my man. Salute D. Salute to the rest of the fellas. All right, Lamar.
Yeah,
man.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and drop y'all down. Look, y'all, man. FYF Sports, man. Great podcast episode, man. Salute, man. He said production does matter. Yeah, he did. Tyson, he did say production matter. Just like, again, production does matter. I do agree there. But at the end of the day, Tyson, just like I told the guy yesterday, you cannot even get to production. You can't not even start talking about production without the versatility. It's not even a conversation, and your production, let's say you do have a productive player, Tyson, right? Which like LeBron was productive early, his first 2 years in the league. So you can have a productive player who's productive just purely based off one physical gift, right? But when you see players take that next step and they transition from being good scorers into that elite level, that transition usually happens because they are adding versatility to their game. And the best of the best, the good players are either you're just a naturally gifted scorer like Carmelo Anthony and you just have everything in your bag naturally. You don't really have to work to get it, or good players are really going to get in the lab and they're going to put in the work to get to that point. I mean, you got examples of Allen Iverson, Carmelo Anthony, naturally gifted guy, scores, could go to the club and party every day and still come back in the gym and score 30 any which way they wanted it. Right. So that's the difference right there. But look, y'all, we're gonna go ahead and get this one shut down. Appreciate y'all pulling up again. Salute to Gilbert Arenas for pulling up. Like I said, I'm probably gonna snip that part of the show. And that way you guys can rewatch it. But it's FYF Sports, man. Another great podcast episode. We're gonna be back with more sports news, and until then, it's FYF Sports, man, and we out.
Yeah, we done came from the bottom, mad that we up, but I don't hear him talking. Started with knowledge inside of my noggin. We took a dream and then we started blogging. Put my city on the map now. I'ma say how it is and now I'm back down. On the road to 100K, we finna act out. We gon' show them that we not just in the background. We the main event, we the main show. We the one that people always gonna pay for. FYF, we the best, no debate though. Number one sports channel, every angle. I'ma show them all how we ride. Best sports talk show, we not like them guys. We playing it safe while they feather the lines. We pushing the narrative all of the time. Like who to go in the game is not MJ. Kobe Bryant top 10, not what we say. I keep Elijah one is very overrated. Keep it real if it ain't fact, we don't say it. Now stable, we won't be ignored. We number one, especially when coming to sports. FYF ringing the heat here, of course. Where everything backed up with actual source.